Have you ever had days when everything seems to fall apart? Your plans collapse, people disappoint you, money slips away, and it feels like bad luck is chasing you wherever you go. In those moments, most of us panic, complain, or even start believing life is unfair. But in Buddhism, there's a deeper truth. What we call bad luck is often not a curse, but a signal, an invitation to awaken, to see differently, and to grow stronger. Imagine if every setback you faced could actually become the stepping stone that moves you closer to peace, wisdom, and resilience. In this video, I'll share powerful things you can do immediately whenever bad luck strikes. Practical Buddhist insights that will help you turn misfortune into transformation. Stay with me, because what you'll hear today might change the way you look at every challenge for the rest of your life. 1. Reflect on the law of cause and effect. Buddhism teaches us that life is not random and nothing simply happens by accident. At the heart of this wisdom lies the principle of karma, the law of cause and effect. Karma is not about instant punishment or mysterious rewards. Rather, it is the natural unfolding of consequences from the seeds we have planted through our thoughts, words, and actions. Every decision you make leaves an imprint, and those imprints eventually shape the conditions you live in today. When something unfortunate happens, the usual reaction is to cry out, "Why me? Why is life so unfair?" But the Buddhist way invites us to pause and gently turn that question into something more empowering. What choices, habits, or actions of mine have led me to this moment? This reflection is not about blaming yourself or drowning in guilt. It is about cultivating self-awareness and seeing your life with clear eyes. Imagine a farmer scattering seeds across his field. If he plants thorn bushes, he cannot expect to harvest sweet fruit. Likewise, if we constantly sow seeds of anger, dishonesty, laziness, or envy, we should not be surprised when life returns to us hardships and struggles. On the other hand, if we plant seeds of kindness, patience, effort, and wisdom, we create conditions where blessings can grow naturally. The truth is, bad luck is often not a curse from the outside. It is the result of seeds we once planted, now sprouting before us. When you honestly trace your steps backward, you may begin to notice patterns. Perhaps your financial struggles come from years of procrastination or careless spending. Perhaps the collapse of a relationship stems from anger, neglect, or pride that was left unchecked. Perhaps your current challenges in health are linked to a long habit of ignoring self-care. Seeing these connections can be painful, but it is also liberating, because if your past actions created your present, then your present actions can create a new future. Reflection on cause and effect is like looking into a mirror. At first, the reflection may show things you don't like to admit, but it also shows you the power you hold to make change. By becoming aware of the choices that shaped your path, you take the first step to break free from repeating the same cycles. Awareness brings light into the dark corners of your life, where unconscious habits once ruled. And once the light is on, you are no longer trapped. You can choose differently, act differently, and move toward a future filled with better outcomes. This is why Buddhism says awareness is the first step to change. Without awareness, you stumble blindly and keep creating the same conditions that produce suffering. With awareness, you begin to see clearly, and seeing clearly is the beginning of freedom. The next time bad luck strikes, don't let yourself sink into despair. Instead, pause and reflect. What seed have I planted, and what seed can I plant now to change tomorrow? In that reflection lies both responsibility and hope. The responsibility to own your actions, and the hope that you can always create a new beginning. 2. Transform misfortune into a teacher. When life hands us bad luck, our first instinct is often to resist it. We get angry, frustrated, or even hopeless, asking ourselves, "Why is this happening to me? What did I do to deserve this?" But Buddhism teaches us to look at misfortune from a completely different perspective. Instead of seeing it as an enemy to fight against, we can see it as a teacher, one that arrives in disguise, bringing with it a hidden lesson meant to help us grow. Think about it. Some of the greatest lessons you've ever learned in life probably did not come from easy times. They came when things fell apart, when someone disappointed you, when you lost something you thought you couldn't live without. Failure teaches you resilience. Heartbreak teaches you the value of self-love. Financial struggles teach you discipline and gratitude for the little you have. Pain, when looked at through the lens of wisdom, always carries a lesson that success and comfort can never teach. In Buddhism, suffering is not seen as pointless. The Buddha himself said that life includes suffering, but that suffering can be transformed into wisdom if we are willing to learn from it. Every challenge is like a mirror, showing us something about ourselves that we might not have noticed before. For example, a failed project might reveal your lack of preparation. An argument with a friend might show you how prideful or impatient you have become. Losing a job might teach you that your worth does not depend solely on a paycheck. In this way, bad luck becomes a guide, pointing you back to what truly matters. Imagine misfortune as a teacher knocking on your door. At first, you don't recognize them. You see only the pain they bring, and you want them to leave. But if you open the door with patience, you discover that they are here with a lesson that can make you stronger, wiser, and more compassionate. The question to always ask yourself is, what is this situation trying to teach me? This shifts your perspective from victimhood to empowerment. Suddenly, bad luck is not something happening to you, it is something happening for you, to refine you and prepare you for something greater. Buddhism encourages us to embrace difficulties with mindfulness instead of resistance. When we stop fighting against what has already happened, we create space to listen to the lesson hidden inside. This doesn't mean you enjoy suffering or seek it out. It means you accept that every painful moment can contain a seed of wisdom. Just like a lotus flower grows out of muddy water, wisdom often grows out of life's toughest experiences. So the next time you are struck by misfortune, don't rush to label it as purely negative. Instead, pause and ask, what can I learn from this? How can this experience help me grow into a better version of myself? The more you practice this, the less power bad luck will have over you. Because you will no longer see it as a curse, you will see it as a disguised blessing, a teacher carrying the lessons you need most. 3. Practice letting go instead of clinging. One of the deepest causes of suffering, according to Buddhism, is clinging, the desperate attachment we form to people, possessions, outcomes, or even ideas. When bad luck enters our lives, it often exposes just how tightly we have been holding on to something we thought we could never lose. A lost job reveals our attachment to financial security. A broken relationship reveals our clinging to a person or an expectation of how life should be. Even small misfortunes, like missing a bus or losing a little money, can make us feel trapped if our hearts are too attached to control. The Buddha compared this clinging to trying to grasp water with your fists. The tighter you squeeze, the faster the water slips away. Life, in its nature, is always changing. Nothing stays fixed forever. People change, circumstances shift, health fades, wealth comes and goes. Yet we resist this truth, and our resistance becomes suffering. When bad luck strikes, it's almost as if life is reminding us of this eternal truth. You cannot hold on forever. Learn to let go. Letting go doesn't mean you stop caring or give up on life. It means you stop expecting permanence where there is none. For example, imagine clinging to a single tree branch during a flood. At first, it feels safe, but soon the waters rise, and holding on becomes painful. If you let go, you allow the river to carry you to a safer place. Similarly, when you release attachment to things you cannot control, you open yourself to new opportunities, new paths, and a kind of peace that clinging will never bring. Think of a time when you held on to something long after it was gone. Maybe you stayed in a friendship that drained you, clinging to memories of what it once was. Maybe you obsessed over a failed plan, replaying it in your mind, refusing to accept that it was over. How much energy did that consume? How much peace did it steal from you? Bad luck often shines a spotlight on these unhealthy attachments, giving us the chance to finally loosen our grip. In Buddhism, monks often practice detachment not because they hate life, but because they want to be free from the chains of clinging. They own little, eat simply, and live lightly. This doesn't mean we must all live as monks, but it does remind us that freedom comes when we learn to hold everything in life with an open hand, not a clenched fist. When fortune turns against you, ask yourself, am I clinging too tightly to something that life is asking me to release? Letting go can be painful at first, but it is also healing. It is the art of making peace with impermanence. Once you release the weight of what you can't control, you create space in your heart for what is meant for you. Sometimes what you let go of is simply making room for something better that life wants to give you. A closed door is not the end. It is the opening of a new path. So, when misfortune arrives, don't just ask how to escape it. Ask what it is asking you to release. A failed plan might be telling you to let go of rigid control. A broken relationship might be guiding you to let go of your need for validation from others. A financial loss might be urging you to let go of greed or overdependence on material security. In each case, the act of letting go transforms bad luck into a stepping stone for growth. The Buddha once said, "You only lose what you cling to." When you understand this truth, you realize that freedom is not in holding tighter, but in letting go. Misfortune may not vanish immediately, but your suffering will. Because when you release your attachment, you rise above the storm, and no stroke of bad luck can truly shake you again. 4. Protect your mind with gratitude. When misfortune strikes, the natural tendency of the mind is to zoom in on what went wrong. You lose a job, and suddenly all you see is rejection. You get sick, and all you can think about is weakness. You lose a friend, and all your attention turns to loneliness. This is how the mind works. It magnifies the negative until it seems to take over everything. But Buddhism reminds us of a simple yet powerful truth. Your suffering does not come only from the situation itself, but from how your mind chooses to see it. Gratitude is the antidote to this trap. Gratitude doesn't erase your pain, but it protects your mind from being consumed by it. It is like lighting a small candle in a dark room. The darkness doesn't disappear completely, but it can no longer overwhelm you. Gratitude shifts your perspective from what you have lost to what you still have, from what is wrong to what is still right. And in doing so, it protects your inner peace when everything outside feels uncertain. Imagine a person who loses their home in a storm. One mind focuses on despair. I have nothing left. My life is ruined. Another mind, while still hurting, chooses gratitude. I am alive. My family is safe. I still have my 2 hands and my heart to rebuild. The same storm, but 2 very different realities, shaped not by the event itself, but by the attitude taken toward it. Gratitude becomes a shield, guarding the mind from falling into hopelessness. In Buddhism, gratitude is not just a fleeting emotion, it is a daily practice. Monks are trained to give thanks even for the smallest things. A bowl of rice, a moment of silence, the breath moving in and out of their lungs. Why? Because by recognizing the blessings that are already here, the mind develops resilience. When bad luck comes, instead of collapsing under its weight, gratitude helps you see that misfortune is only one part of the picture, not the whole story. Think of your own life right now. Perhaps you are facing financial struggles, relationship issues, or health problems. But even in this moment, are there not still things to be grateful for? Maybe it's the fact that you woke up this morning, that you have someone who cares about you, or that you have the ability to listen, learn, and grow. These may seem small, but they are not. They are the foundation that keeps you grounded while the storm of bad luck passes. Practicing gratitude does not mean ignoring your pain. It means not allowing your pain to blind you to everything else. You can cry, you can feel loss, but at the same time, you can whisper thankfulness for what remains. This dual awareness transforms how you carry your struggles. Instead of sinking into despair, you walk through it with a lighter heart. One powerful practice is to pause during difficult times and name 3 things you are grateful for. Say them slowly, feel them deeply. It could be as simple as, I am grateful for my breath. I am grateful for the food I ate. I am grateful for one person who loves me. This practice pulls your mind away from the obsession with misfortune and anchors it in the reality of blessings. When you cultivate gratitude, bad luck loses its grip. Instead of being crushed by what you don't have, you are strengthened by what you still do. Gratitude does not change the situation, but it changes you. And when your mind is steady, when your heart is light, misfortune cannot destroy you. It becomes just another passing cloud in the vast sky of your life. So the next time you are hit by bad luck, protect your mind. Pause, breathe, and say thank you. Not because everything is perfect, but because even in imperfection, life is still offering you gifts. Gratitude is not a denial of reality. It is a reminder that reality is never just darkness. It always contains light. 5. Serve others to shift your energy. When bad luck arrives, the natural reaction is to shrink into yourself. You begin to think, why me? My life is unfair. Everything is against me. The mind builds a prison of self-pity, and the more you focus on your own problems, the heavier they feel. This is where Buddhism offers a profound remedy. Shift your focus from yourself to others. By serving others through kindness, compassion, and small acts of care, you change the energy of your heart, and your misfortune loses its power over you. Think of this truth. Suffering makes us feel isolated, but compassion reconnects us. Imagine someone who loses their job and feels worthless. They sit at home, drowning in their own worries. But then they choose to help a neighbor, maybe by carrying groceries, listening to their troubles, or teaching them a skill. Suddenly their focus moves away from their personal pain, and they realize, I still have value. I can still give. I can still make a difference. The act of serving others becomes a medicine, not only for those we help, but for ourselves. Buddhism teaches that compassion is one of the highest virtues because it dissolves the illusion of separation. When you help others, you discover that their pain is not different from your own, and your heart begins to soften. Misfortune feels lighter when you stop carrying it alone. By sharing kindness, you turn your suffering into strength, not just for yourself, but for those around you. Consider the story of monks who, even in times of famine, would share their last handful of rice with the hungry. From a worldly perspective, this seems foolish. Why give away the little you have? But from a spiritual perspective, the act of giving transforms despair into meaning. Instead of feeling powerless in the face of misfortune, you become powerful through your compassion. You prove to yourself that no matter what you lose, you still hold the ability to give, and that makes you infinitely rich. Serving others doesn't always mean grand gestures. It can be as simple as smiling at someone who is sad, sending a kind message, sharing a meal, or even listening without judgment. These small acts are like drops of water. They may seem small alone, but together they create a river that washes away despair. The energy you put out into the world always returns to you. If you pour out kindness during your darkest days, life finds a way to reflect that light back onto you. There is also a deeper secret here. Helping others raises your energy. When you act from compassion, your mind shifts out of the negative cycle of me and my bad luck. You stop feeding the story of your misfortune and instead open yourself to a wider truth. that even in suffering you can be a source of hope. This is why people who volunteer, even in their own struggles, often report feeling lighter, happier, and more at peace. Giving breaks the spell of misfortune because it reminds you that your life still has meaning and purpose. The Buddha often reminded his disciples that true happiness does not come from endless self-concern, but from selfless service. In serving others, you serve yourself, because compassion transforms your heart. The moment you help ease someone else's suffering, you discover that your own burden has already grown lighter. So the next time bad luck strikes and you feel trapped in your problems, step outside yourself. Ask, who can I help today, even in a small way? You might cook a meal for someone in need, listen to a friend's worries, donate something you don't use, or simply offer a word of encouragement. Each act of kindness pulls you out of the prison of misfortune and connects you to the larger flow of life. Remember, serving others doesn't just change their world, it changes yours. It reminds you that bad luck cannot stop you from being a force of goodness, from shining your light in the darkness. And when you give, you also receive the peace, strength, and joy that comes from knowing you are more powerful than any misfortune. 6. Remember impermanence. This too shall pass. One of the most comforting and liberating teachings in Buddhism is the truth of impermanence, known as anicca. Everything in life is in constant motion, changing from moment to moment. Nothing stays the same. Not your happiness, not your suffering, not your wealth, not your struggles. Everything that arises must eventually pass away. When you face bad luck, it is easy to believe that your misfortune is permanent, that this dark cloud will hang over you forever. But Buddhism reminds us that no storm lasts forever. What feels endless now is only temporary, like clouds drifting across the sky. Think of the seasons. Winter may seem long and cold, but eventually spring arrives with flowers, warmth, and new life. The same law applies to our lives. Misfortune is like a winter season. It may chill you to the bone, but it cannot last forever. Eventually, the conditions will shift and something new will bloom. When you hold this truth in your heart, you find the patience to endure your difficulties without losing hope. Often, suffering feels unbearable, not because of the pain itself, but because we believe it will never end. For example, someone who loses their job may think, I will never recover. My life is ruined. Someone who goes through heartbreak may believe, I will never love again. I will always be alone. But these are illusions created by the mind. The truth is, circumstances always change. People find new jobs, hearts heal, new opportunities arise, and unexpected blessings appear. When you deeply understand impermanence, you stop seeing bad luck as a life sentence and start seeing it as a passing moment in your larger journey. Impermanence also teaches us that misfortune itself can carry hidden blessings. Many people look back at a difficult period of their lives and say, at the time, it felt like the end, but now I see it was a turning point. A lost job might push you toward your true passion. A broken relationship might guide you to self-love or a healthier partner. An illness might teach you the value of health and gratitude for each breath. None of these realizations would have come without the pain, but because pain is not permanent, it eventually becomes wisdom. In Buddhist practice, monks meditate on impermanence daily. They observe their breath. The inhale rises, the exhale falls. Each moment is born, and each moment dies. Even thoughts come and go. By training the mind to see this clearly, they free themselves from clinging too tightly to either pleasure or pain. They know that neither will last, so they remain steady in both. This is the kind of mindset that protects you when bad luck appears. You know that no matter how heavy today feels, tomorrow will be different. A powerful way to remember impermanence during tough times is to repeat to yourself, "This too shall pass." Say it slowly. Feel the truth of it, because no matter what you are facing, the wheel of life keeps turning. The sun will rise again, Your pain will soften. New opportunities will arrive. Life is never stuck. It is always flowing, and your misfortune is simply a bend in the river, not the end of the journey. So the next time bad luck strikes and you feel crushed under its weight, pause and remind yourself, this is temporary. This is not who I am. This is only a passing moment. When you hold this truth in your heart, you can endure hardship without despair. You can face misfortune with patience, courage, and hope. Because no matter how dark the night may seem, dawn is already on its way. 7. Find strength in presence. Anchor yourself in the now. When misfortune strikes, the mind becomes restless. It clings to the past, replaying every mistake, every failure, every moment you wish you could change. Or it runs into the future, inventing frightening stories of what else could go wrong, imagining that today's bad luck is only the beginning of endless suffering. In this way, a single misfortune multiplies into hundreds, not because reality created them, but because the mind did. This is the hidden power of thought. It can magnify pain, or it can dissolve it. And the way to dissolve it is by returning to the present moment. Buddhism calls this practice mindfulness, the art of being fully here, fully alive, fully present. When you are anchored in the now, misfortune cannot control you. Why? Because in this very moment, when you look closely, the suffering is never as heavy as the mind's story about it. Perhaps you lost money. Right now, in this second, you are breathing. You still have your body, your heart, your awareness. Perhaps you faced rejection. Right now, in this breath, you are alive. You are capable of learning. You are capable of starting again. The present moment is always larger than the misfortune you fear. Think about this. When a storm comes, trees that are too rigid break. But bamboo bends with the wind, and when the storm passes, it stands tall again. Presence makes you like bamboo. Instead of breaking under the imagined weight of endless misfortune, you bend, you sway, you remain rooted in what is real, this breath, this step, this heartbeat. And when the storm passes, you are still standing. There is a famous Buddhist saying, "Do not dwell in the past. Do not dream of the future. Concentrate the mind on the present moment." This is not just poetry, it is survival. When bad luck visits you, what destroys your peace is rarely the event itself, but the endless inner commentary. Why me? What if it gets worse? What if I never recover? But when you drop those thoughts and bring your awareness back to the now, the suffering weakens. You see clearly, this is only one moment, and I can handle this moment. Let me give you an example. Imagine a man who loses his job. His mind begins racing. I will never find another job. My family will starve. My future is ruined. Notice how the mind has created a whole chain of disasters that have not yet happened. In reality, what has happened? He lost a job. Painful, yes. But in this present moment, he is still alive. He still has skills. He still has people he can reach out to. He still has breath in his lungs. If he anchors himself in that reality, his fear weakens and strength arises to take the next step forward. Anchoring yourself in the now does not mean ignoring your problems. It means refusing to let your imagination turn problems into monsters larger than life. It means breaking misfortune into smaller pieces you can face one step at a time. You cannot solve tomorrow today, but you can breathe today. You can act today. You can make one small choice today, and that is enough. Buddhist monks often practice presence by focusing on the breath. They watch the inhale rise, the exhale fall. Nothing else exists in that moment, just breath. This may seem simple, but it is profound. When you train the mind to return again and again to the breath, you discover that every moment of your life can be lived this way. Eating, walking, speaking, even suffering. If you are fully present, the burden of misfortune becomes lighter. Why? Because you are no longer fighting ghosts from the past or monsters from the future. You are only dealing with what is here, and what is here is always manageable. Presence also transforms how you see misfortune itself. When you are fully in the moment, you may begin to notice things you had overlooked. A rejection may teach you patience. A financial struggle may awaken creativity. An illness may remind you of the preciousness of life. These lessons are invisible when your mind is trapped in endless fear. But when you are anchored in the now, clarity arises, and misfortune begins to look less like a curse and more like a guide. Consider how a child plays. When a child builds a sandcastle and the waves wash it away, they do not despair as adults do. They may cry for a moment, but soon they are laughing again, building another castle. Why? Because children live in the present. They do not turn the wave into a prophecy of endless loss. They simply accept, and then they begin again. This is the power you regain when you live with presence, the freedom to start anew, without being chained by yesterday or crushed by tomorrow. There is also a hidden strength in presence that many overlook. When you are here, fully in this moment, you reclaim your energy. Think of how much energy is wasted on regret about the past and anxiety about the future. When you let go of that, all that energy returns to you. You feel lighter, calmer, stronger. Suddenly, what seemed like bad luck becomes an opportunity to act with fresh focus. You are no longer drained by mental stories. You are empowered by reality. The Buddha once said, "The trouble is, you think you have time." Most people live as if life is endless, as if they can postpone joy, peace, and action until later. But impermanence is real. Tomorrow is not promised. The only time you ever truly have is now. And when misfortune reminds you of life's uncertainty, it is not a curse. It is a call to return to this truth, to wake up, to stop living half asleep in yesterday or tomorrow, and to live fully in this moment. So how can you practice this when bad luck comes? Start small. Take a deep breath and notice it. Feel your feet on the ground. Name 5 things around you that you can see right now. Listen to the sounds in the room. Bring your mind back again and again to what is real. With practice, you will find that the storm of misfortune still comes, but it does not sweep you away. You remain rooted in presence, steady like a mountain, calm like a still lake. Bad luck may shake the world outside you, but presence protects the world within you. And in that calm center, you discover something extraordinary. You are stronger than you ever believed. You are not just a victim of chance or fate. You are awareness itself, vast, unshaken, eternal. Misfortune may visit, but it cannot control the one who is anchored in the now. 8. Turn bad luck into the path of inner awakening. Most people think of bad luck as life's cruelty, a punishment, a curse, or simply unfair misfortune. When things go wrong, they ask, "Why me? Why does the universe always target me?" They see bad luck as a wall blocking them from happiness. But Buddhism teaches us to see it differently. Misfortune, when viewed through wisdom, is not only a wall, it can also be a doorway. It can be the very path that leads you toward awakening, strength, and inner freedom. Think about your own life. Have your greatest moments of growth come when everything was easy? Or did they come when you were tested, when life broke you down, when things didn't go as planned, when you felt like you had nothing left but your own courage? Most people look back and realize that their deepest lessons, their strongest qualities, their most powerful wisdom were born from their hardest struggles. In this way, bad luck is not against you. It may actually be for you. It comes as a teacher, even if it wears the mask of suffering. The Buddha himself experienced this. Before his awakening, he lived in luxury as a prince. Surrounded by wealth, comfort, and pleasure, he was shielded from suffering. But his awakening began only when he encountered sickness, old age, and death, realities he could not ignore. What appeared as bad luck moments, confronting pain and impermanence, were in fact the turning points that pushed him toward truth. Without them, he may have remained asleep in the comfort of his palace. Your own misfortunes can work the same way. They can break the illusion of control and awaken you to life's deeper truths. Bad luck forces you to confront impermanence, the truth that nothing lasts. Your health, your wealth, your relationships, none of them are permanent. We resist this truth because it frightens us. But when misfortune strikes, it tears away the veil and shows us reality directly. And while this is painful, it is also liberating. Because once you accept impermanence, you stop clinging so tightly. You stop expecting life to stay the same. You begin to flow with change instead of fighting it. In this way, bad luck becomes a mirror reflecting the truth of existence, giving you the chance to live more freely. Let us consider an example. Imagine a person who loses their business. At first, it feels like total destruction. They think, "My life is over. I am worthless. Nothing good will ever come." But months later, they realize that the failure pushed them to discover new talents, to start a new path that was more aligned with their true purpose. Without the bad luck of losing the business, they would never have found the strength to reinvent themselves. What felt like the end was, in fact, a beginning. This is how life works. Endings are often disguised as disasters, but in reality, they are doorways to transformation. In Buddhism, suffering is described as the fire that burns away ignorance. Just as gold is purified in fire, your spirit is refined through trials. Bad luck strips away illusions, ego, and false security, forcing you to discover what cannot be taken away. You may lose wealth, status, or relationships, but what remains is your awareness, your compassion, your resilience. These inner qualities are the true treasures of life, and often you only discover them when everything else is stripped away. Another way bad luck awakens you is by teaching compassion. When you suffer, you suddenly understand the suffering of others. If you have been hungry, you will never look at another hungry person the same way. If you have lost, you will understand another's loss. Misfortune softens the heart. It humbles you. It makes you realize that everyone, no matter how rich or strong, faces pain. This realization dissolves pride and replaces it with empathy. In this way, bad luck becomes the bridge that connects you to humanity, making you more compassionate and wise. Buddhism also teaches that every difficulty carries the seed of enlightenment if you know how to use it. A storm can drown you, or it can teach you how to swim. A fire can destroy, or it can purify. The difference is how you respond. If you resist misfortune with anger and despair, you only suffer more. But if you meet it with mindfulness and courage, you transform it into strength. This is why the Buddhist path is not about escaping suffering, but about transforming it. Every misfortune is an opportunity to practice patience, to deepen wisdom, to strengthen compassion, and to awaken to the truth of life. Presence plays a key role here. When you face bad luck, the mind wants to run away, into the past, into the future, into endless what-ifs. But when you anchor yourself in the now, you can face the challenge directly. You begin to ask, what can I learn from this? How can this moment help me awaken? Instead of seeing yourself as a victim, you see yourself as a student. And in that shift, misfortune loses its grip. There is a Zen teaching that says, obstacles do not block the path, they are the path. This means that the very difficulties you face are not detours or interruptions. They are the road itself. Life is not about finding a way around suffering, but about walking through it with awareness. Every step, even the painful ones, takes you closer to awakening. Bad luck, therefore, is not the enemy. It is part of the journey. Think of the lotus flower, the great symbol of Buddhism. It blooms in muddy water. Without the mud, there is no lotus. In the same way, your misfortunes are the mud from which your wisdom can bloom. You cannot wish away the mud. You must use it, accept it, and let it nourish your growth. The uglier the mud, the more beautiful the lotus. This is why many who have suffered greatly often carry a special light in their eyes. They have bloomed from the mud of their own struggles. So how can you turn bad luck into awakening in practical ways? Start by shifting your questions. Instead of asking, "Why me?" ask, "What is life teaching me through this?" Instead of saying, "This is unfair," say, "This is my chance to grow stronger, wiser, freer." Practice mindfulness, watching how your mind reacts to misfortune. See the stories it creates, the fears it multiplies, the attachments it clings to. By observing this, you learn not only about the misfortune, but about yourself. And that self-knowledge is the beginning of liberation. Also, practice patience. Awakening does not come in a single moment. Just as a seed takes time to grow into a tree, the lessons of misfortune unfold slowly. You may not see the blessing today or tomorrow, but if you carry patience and trust in the law of impermanence, one day you will look back and say, "That hardship was the very thing that shaped me. It was not my destruction, it was my awakening." Finally, remember that awakening is not something far away. It is not reserved for saints or monks. It is available to you here and now, in the middle of your struggles. Every breath of mindfulness, every act of compassion, every moment of letting go, that is awakening. And bad luck, instead of blocking this path, can push you deeper into it. So, the next time misfortune knocks on your door, do not curse it or run from it. Instead, bow to it. See it as a teacher, a mirror, a guide. Ask what it has come to show you, what illusions it has come to break, what strength it has come to awaken. In this way, you turn bad luck from a source of despair into a path of liberation. Because in truth, bad luck is not the end of your journey. It is the very road to your awakening. 9. See bad luck as the mirror of your inner world. When misfortune strikes, most people rush to point outward. They blame circumstances, people, fate, or even invisible forces. If only they hadn't betrayed me. If only the economy wasn't failing. If only luck wasn't against me. The mind instantly looks for an external enemy. But Buddhism teaches us something deeper. The outer world often reflects the state of our inner world. What you call bad luck may actually be a mirror, showing you truths about yourself that you would rather not see. This does not mean that you directly cause every misfortune in a simple, mechanical way. Rather, it means that the way you think, feel, and act shapes the conditions around you. The seeds you plant in your mind eventually bloom in your reality. If your mind is filled with fear, you will see fear everywhere. If your heart is filled with anger, conflict will find its way to you. If you are careless, procrastinating, or ignoring wisdom, sooner or later misfortune will knock on your door, not as punishment, but as reflection. Think of a lake. When the water is still and clear, it reflects the sky beautifully, but when it is muddy or stormy, the reflection is distorted. In the same way, life reflects back the state of your inner being. When bad luck comes, it may be showing you the storm inside, the attachments, the fears, the impatience, the lack of awareness. Instead of blaming life, Buddhism invites you to look at the mirror and ask, "What in me needs healing? What in me is being revealed right now?" Consider an example. A person keeps experiencing broken relationships. Each time they say, "I just have bad luck with people." But when they look deeper, they discover a pattern. They fear abandonment. They cling too tightly. They suffocate their partners with insecurity. The bad luck was not random. It was a mirror showing them their own attachment. Until they see and heal it, the pattern will repeat. Bad luck was simply the teacher holding up the mirror again and again until the lesson was learned. Another example. Someone constantly faces financial difficulties. They blame the economy, bad timing, or betrayal by others. But upon reflection, they notice a lack of discipline, impulsive spending, or ignoring opportunities out of fear. The misfortune was not a curse, It was a mirror urging them to change their habits. Once they take responsibility, the cycle breaks and fortune slowly shifts. This mirror principle is one of the most empowering truths in Buddhism. It shows you that misfortune is not the end of your story, it is feedback. It is life showing you where you are misaligned with truth, where your mind is out of balance, where your choices need refinement. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" you begin to ask, "What is this revealing about me?" That shift transforms you from a victim of luck into a student of wisdom. Of course, this requires honesty and courage. It is easier to blame the world than to face your own patterns. But healing begins with recognition. When you see clearly what the mirror of misfortune is showing you, you gain the power to change. Awareness itself begins to dissolve old habits. By bringing the unconscious into the light of consciousness, you reclaim control over your path. It is also important to remember that not all misfortune is caused by personal mistakes. Sometimes life simply brings challenges because that is the nature of existence. Storms, sickness, death, these are part of being alive. But even here, misfortune can act as a mirror, reflecting how you respond to what cannot be controlled. Do you collapse into despair? Do you lash out at others? Or do you find patience, compassion, and resilience? The mirror always shows something. Sometimes your habits, sometimes your strength, sometimes your hidden fears. In meditation practice, monks are taught to observe the mind without judgment. Thoughts of fear, anger, or desire are not denied. They are seen clearly, like clouds passing across the sky. This same practice can be applied to misfortune. Instead of denying it or cursing it, observe it. Ask, "What is this teaching me about my attachments? What is this revealing about my mind?" In this way, every moment of bad luck becomes an opportunity for self-knowledge. And self-knowledge is the root of liberation. Let's imagine a person facing rejection from a job they desperately wanted. At first, they say, "I am unlucky." But when they look into the mirror of the moment, they see their attachment to external validation. They realize they tied their entire worth to that one opportunity. The rejection, painful as it is, shows them the fragility of their self-image. And in seeing that, they can begin to build a deeper, unshakable sense of self-worth that no job can give or take away. Without the rejection, they might never have learned this. Bad luck then becomes the mirror, reflecting their inner dependence and offering the chance to break free. The beauty of seeing bad luck as a mirror is that it transforms how you carry suffering. Instead of feeling cursed, you feel guided. Instead of despair, you feel curiosity. Each misfortune becomes a chance to turn inward and grow. You begin to welcome the mirror even when it is uncomfortable, because you know that every reflection helps you awaken a little more. And as you keep practicing, something shifts. You no longer see life as happening to you. You see life as happening for you. Every event, pleasant or painful, becomes part of your spiritual training. Bad luck becomes not the enemy of your happiness, but the path to your awakening. The mirror never lies. It always shows you the truth you most need to see. So the next time you feel crushed by bad luck, pause and remember, this is not only misfortune, this is a mirror. Look closely, ask what it is reflecting, ask what part of you is being revealed. Ask how this moment, as painful as it feels, is guiding you toward deeper wisdom. Because once you learn to use the mirror, bad luck is no longer something to fear. It becomes your teacher, your guide, and perhaps even your greatest blessing in disguise. 10. Transform bad luck by building unshakable inner peace. When bad luck strikes, most people look outward for solutions. They try to fix circumstances, change other people, or manipulate situations to escape discomfort. But Buddhism teaches a deeper truth. The real battleground is not outside you, it is inside your mind. External conditions will always rise and fall. Fortunes come and go, relationships change, health fluctuates, and even entire societies shift. If your peace depends on these unstable factors, you will always be at the mercy of luck. True freedom comes only when you build inner peace so strong that no misfortune can take it away. This does not mean you deny difficulties or pretend pain does not exist. It means you cultivate a mind so calm, steady, and resilient that storms cannot shake it. Just as the ocean remains vast and deep, even when waves crash on its surface, your mind too can remain still beneath the turbulence of life. The question is, how do we build such unshakable inner peace? The first step is awareness. Bad luck often catches us off guard, and the untrained mind reacts instantly. Anger, fear, sadness, despair. But awareness gives you space. Instead of reacting blindly, you notice, this is anger rising. This is fear arising. The very act of noticing creates distance. You are no longer drowning in the emotion, you are watching it. And in that moment of watching, peace begins. You realize that the misfortune is not you, and the emotion is not permanent. It is just passing through, like a cloud in the sky. The second step is acceptance. Most suffering is not from the event itself, but from resisting it. Something painful happens, and we fight reality. This should not have happened. Life is unfair. I cannot accept this. But Buddhism teaches that resistance is like adding a second arrow to the wound. The first arrow is the pain of the misfortune. The second arrow is the suffering we create by refusing to accept it. Acceptance does not mean you like what happened. It means you stop wasting energy denying reality. You soften into it, and from that softness, strength arises. Third, you cultivate equanimity, the balance of mind that does not get carried away by either pleasure or pain. Most people are like a leaf in the wind, blown around by good and bad fortune. When things go well, they are ecstatic. When things go badly, they collapse. But the wise person remains steady. They enjoy blessings without clinging, and they endure misfortune without despair. This stability is built through meditation, reflection, and daily practice. Each time you face small challenges and choose calm over panic, you strengthen the muscle of equanimity. And when greater misfortunes arrive, that muscle holds you steady. To build inner peace, you must also understand the nature of the mind. The mind is restless, always grasping for what it wants and pushing away what it dislikes. But when you train the mind through mindfulness, you begin to see this restless pattern clearly. You notice how desire creates attachment, and how attachment leads to suffering. You notice how aversion creates resistance, and how resistance magnifies pain. By observing without judgment, you slowly untangle these patterns. The knots of craving and aversion loosen, and the mind settles naturally into peace. Consider a person who loses a job. Without inner peace, they collapse. Anxiety, shame, despair. They cling to the loss, replay it endlessly, and predict a ruined future. But with inner peace, the same person feels the pain, yet remains steady. This has happened. It is not the end of me. I will take the next step. They breathe, they act, they keep going. Their peace does not depend on circumstances. It depends on the calm center they have cultivated. Buddhist monks often compare the mind to a candle flame. When the wind blows strongly, the flame flickers wildly. But when there is shelter, the flame burns steadily. Misfortune is like the wind. It will always come. But if you build the shelter of mindfulness, wisdom, and compassion, your inner flame will not flicker as much. It will remain bright, steady, unshaken. One way to build this shelter is through meditation. By sitting quietly and observing the breath, you train the mind to return to the present moment. Thoughts of fear, regret, or despair may come, but you do not chase them. You simply notice and return to the breath. Over time, this practice creates a calm center that is not disturbed by outer storms. When bad luck comes, you can meet it with the same calm awareness you cultivated on the cushion. Another way is through compassion. When you expand your heart to care for others, your suffering no longer consumes you completely. Helping others, even in your own pain, shifts your perspective. You realize that everyone suffers and you are not alone. This realization softens the burden. It also reminds you that you still have something valuable to give, even in hard times. Compassion, therefore, is not only for others, it is also medicine for yourself. Gratitude also plays a role in building inner peace. Even in misfortune, there is always something to be grateful for: the breath in your lungs, the food you eat, the lessons you learn. Gratitude balances the mind. It stops you from drowning in negativity and helps you see the full picture of life. That misfortune is only part of the story, not the whole. Perhaps the deepest practice of all is realizing that peace does not depend on luck. Most people think, I will be at peace when I get what I want, when life is stable, when bad luck leaves me alone. But that is an illusion. True peace is independent. It arises from within, from a mind that has seen the truth of impermanence and let go of clinging. When you no longer demand that life be a certain way, you stop being tossed around by luck. You become like a mountain. Storms may rage around you, but you remain unmoved. History shows us examples of this unshakable peace. Great teachers, monks and sages endured poverty, exile, betrayal, even death, yet remained calm and compassionate. Their peace was not because life spared them from misfortune, but because they built a mind that misfortune could not break. This same potential exists in you. Inner peace is not reserved for saints. It is the birthright of every human who chooses to cultivate it. So the next time bad luck strikes, remember this: you cannot always control what happens, but you can always control how you meet it. You can collapse into despair, or you can breathe, accept, and remain steady. You can let misfortune break you, or you can use it to strengthen your inner shelter. The choice is yours. Bad luck will come. It always does. But if you build unshakable inner peace, misfortune will no longer own you. It may shake the surface of your life, but deep within, you will remain calm, aware, and free. And that, ultimately, is the greatest fortune of all. 11. Discover the freedom beyond good and bad luck. For most of us, life feels like a game of chance. When things go well, we smile and call it good luck. When things fall apart, we frown and call it bad luck. We rise and fall like a boat on the ocean, tossed about by waves we cannot control. But Buddhism teaches us a radical truth. The highest freedom comes not from chasing good luck or avoiding bad luck, but from stepping beyond the entire game of luck itself. Think of how much of your life has been driven by this endless chase. You work hard, hoping for lucky breaks. You cling to relationships, hoping they will not turn against you. You pray for health, fearing the bad luck of sickness. And yet, no matter how much you try, life always shifts. Good fortune arrives, then fades. Misfortune strikes, then passes. The wheel turns endlessly, and you are pulled along with it, until you decide to step off. The Buddha called this liberation. It is the state where you no longer measure your life by gain and loss, success and failure, praise and blame, pleasure and pain. These opposites will always exist, but they no longer bind you. You see them as passing weather, not as your identity. In this state, you are free from the tyranny of luck. You become unshakable, the prison of duality. Why do we suffer so much from bad luck? Because we cling to duality. We divide life into what we want and what we fear, then cling desperately to one side while running from the other. When good luck comes, we grasp it tightly. Stay with me forever. But because nothing lasts, it slips away, and we suffer. When bad luck comes, we resist it violently. Go away, I cannot bear this. But resistance only makes pain heavier. This endless swinging between craving and aversion is what Buddhism calls samsara, the cycle of suffering. As long as you measure life by good luck and bad luck, you remain trapped in this cycle. But when you step beyond it, when you realize that both good and bad are impermanent, both are teachers, both are empty of lasting essence, you discover freedom, the middle way. The Buddha's path is often described as the middle way, not clinging to extremes of indulgence or denial, not attaching to pleasure or despair. Applied to luck, the middle way means you no longer chase fortune or run from misfortune. You walk steadily, with equanimity, through both. Imagine a calm traveler walking down a mountain road. On one side, flowers bloom. On the other, storms rage. But the traveler keeps walking step by step, unmoved by either. The flowers are appreciated, the storms endured, but neither controls the traveler's peace. This is the middle way in action. When you practice it, bad luck loses its power. It may still bring challenges, but it cannot shake your foundation. And good luck, while still enjoyed, no longer becomes a source of attachment. You appreciate it, then let it pass. In this way, your peace no longer depends on external conditions. It flows from within. Beyond fortune and misfortune, the Zen masters often taught through paradox. One story tells of a farmer whose horse ran away. The neighbors cried, "How unlucky!" But the farmer replied, "Maybe." Days later, the horse returned with 3 wild horses. The neighbors shouted, "How lucky!" The farmer replied again, "Maybe." Then his son tried to tame one of the wild horses and broke his leg. The neighbors gasped, "How unlucky!" The farmer said once more, "Maybe." Weeks later, soldiers came to recruit young men for war, but the son was spared because of his broken leg. Now the neighbors shouted, "How lucky!" And still the farmer calmly said, "Maybe." This story captures the truth. What we call good or bad luck is often just our short-sighted judgment. We cannot see the whole picture. What feels like misfortune today may save you tomorrow. What feels like fortune today may lead to pain later. Wisdom is not in labeling events as good or bad, but in resting calmly with maybe. In not clinging to judgments, you free yourself from unnecessary suffering. Training the mind to step beyond. How do you reach this state? Through practice. Every time fortune or misfortune visits you, notice your reaction. Do you cling tightly to pleasure? Do you resist pain with anger? Awareness of these reactions is the first step. Slowly, you train yourself to meet both with balance. When something fortunate happens, enjoy it fully, but whisper to yourself, "This too will pass." This keeps you free from attachment. When misfortune strikes, endure it mindfully, but remind yourself, "This too will pass." This keeps you free from despair. Over time, your mind learns that both are just waves on the ocean of life. You are not the waves, you are the ocean itself. Meditation deepens this training. Sitting in silence, you watch thoughts of desire and fear arise and pass. You watch pleasant feelings and unpleasant feelings arise and pass. Slowly, you begin to taste the truth. Everything is temporary, and peace does not come from controlling waves, but from resting in the vastness beneath them. The freedom of awakening. Imagine living a life where fortune no longer makes you arrogant and misfortune no longer makes you bitter. Imagine walking through storms with the same steady heart you carry under blue skies. Imagine no longer being enslaved by the rise and fall of luck. This is the freedom Buddhism points to. The awakened ones still face pain, they still face change, loss, and death, but they no longer add suffering to pain. They no longer measure themselves by circumstances. Their peace comes from within, and so it cannot be stolen. This is the ultimate transformation of bad luck, not turning it into good luck, but transcending the entire game. A practical reflection. Next time you feel cursed by bad luck, try this reflection. Ask yourself, what if this event is neither good nor bad? What if it is simply part of life unfolding? Notice how much suffering drops away when you stop labeling. Notice how much lighter you feel when you simply let events come and go without clinging. With practice, you will discover a deep truth. The chains of luck were never outside you. They were always in your mind. And when you let go, you are free. Closing thought for this lesson. Bad luck will visit all of us, but whether it breaks you or awakens you depends on how you see it. If you chase fortune and flee misfortune, you remain a prisoner. But if you step beyond, if you see both as passing clouds, you discover a freedom that no storm can touch. This is the highest teaching, to live with a heart that is free from luck, rooted in wisdom, calm in all seasons. 12. Learn to walk with patience. Time turns misfortune into wisdom. Patience is one of the hardest virtues to practice, yet it is also one of the most powerful. When misfortune strikes, the natural instinct of the human heart is to want instant relief, instant clarity, instant change. We ask, when will this pain end? When will life finally get better? Why can't I find the answer right now? But Buddhism teaches that impatience is itself another form of suffering. Just as a wound takes time to heal, and just as a seed takes time to grow into a tree, the lessons of misfortune unfold only with time. The ability to wait with calmness, without forcing life to move faster than it naturally can, is what transforms hardship into wisdom. Without patience, we rush, we panic, we force, and we end up breaking ourselves further. With patience, even the darkest misfortunes become fertile soil for growth. Think about the cycles of nature. The farmer plants his seeds, waters them, and tends the soil. But he does not dig up the ground every day to check if the roots are growing. He knows that life has its own rhythm. If he interferes too much, he destroys the very process he is waiting for. In the same way, when bad luck comes, the healing, the lessons, the transformation, these are seeds planted in your life. They will grow, but not on your schedule. Patience is the trust that time itself is part of the cure. Many people waste years of their lives because they resist this truth. They suffer a loss, and instead of giving themselves time to heal, they try to force happiness again, to run away from their grief, to cover it with distractions. But grief, ignored, only festers. It hardens the heart. Healing requires space. Wisdom requires waiting. When you sit quietly with your pain instead of trying to silence it, you allow time to reveal its lesson. What seemed unbearable at first slowly becomes lighter. What seemed meaningless at first begins to show purpose. Patience is the bridge between pain and meaning. The Buddha once said that anger will never disappear with anger, but only with patience and love. The same applies to misfortune. Your suffering will not disappear if you fight it violently, cursing life or cursing yourself. It will only deepen. But if you meet it with patience, breathing, enduring, walking slowly, you discover that the storm passes on its own. No storm lasts forever. No winter stays without end. Time has always been the healer of all wounds. The challenge is whether you can endure the waiting without breaking yourself further. Consider how many times in your life you thought something was the end of the world. A heartbreak that left you feeling like you could never love again. A failure that made you believe you would never rise. A rejection that convinced you you were worthless. Yet here you are, alive, breathing, stronger than you were then. Time did that. What felt unbearable then is now a memory. You may even laugh at things you once cried over. This is the power of patience, allowing time to do its quiet work. Patience also reveals truths that cannot be seen immediately. When misfortune strikes, the mind is clouded by pain and fear. You cannot always see clearly in the middle of the storm, but if you wait, if you endure, clarity slowly comes. What felt like senseless bad luck begins to show hidden patterns. You realize that the rejection saved you from a path that wasn't meant for you. You see that the failure taught you resilience that success never could. You notice that the delay gave you skills and wisdom you would have missed otherwise. None of this is visible at first. Only time reveals it. Patience is the key that allows time to open those doors. In Buddhism, patience is not passive. It is not laziness or resignation. It is an active strength, the ability to endure difficulties without letting them poison your heart. It is the choice to walk calmly even when the road is long, to hold hope even when the night is dark. A patient person is not weak. They are strong because they have mastered the art of waiting without despair. This is why patience is often called a form of wisdom. It is not simply about waiting, it is about how you wait, with what attitude you carry your suffering. Think of water carving through stone. At first glance, the stone seems unbreakable and the water seems weak, but given enough time, the water shapes the stone itself. This is patience. When you carry misfortune with calm endurance, time itself reshapes your life. You do not need to rush, you do not need to panic. Just as water transforms mountains drop by drop, your steady patience transforms misfortune into wisdom day by day. There is also a hidden beauty in patience. It teaches humility. When you are forced to wait, you realize that you are not the master of life's timing. The universe does not bend to your schedule. This humility softens your ego and teaches surrender. It shows you that life has its own flow, and you are not separate from it. You are part of a greater rhythm. This realization alone can bring peace. Instead of feeling like life is against you, you begin to trust that life is guiding you, even through misfortune, towards something greater. Patience also nurtures compassion. When you suffer and wait, you begin to understand how others suffer too. You recognize that everyone carries burdens, everyone faces delays, everyone struggles with disappointments. Your own waiting softens you toward the waiting of others. You stop judging people for not having moved on fast enough because you know how slow healing can be. Patience makes you gentle, and gentleness is one of the highest forms of strength. When misfortune comes, try this. Instead of asking, "When will this end?" ask, "How can I walk with this?" Instead of rushing to escape, ask, "What is this teaching me right now?" By changing the question, you change your relationship with suffering. You stop seeing it as an unbearable weight and start seeing it as a companion on your journey. A harsh companion perhaps, but one that shapes you into someone deeper, wiser, more compassionate. Patience also brings freedom from fear. Much of our anxiety comes from wanting life to happen faster, wanting clarity now, wanting outcomes immediately. But when you practice patience, you stop demanding from life. You stop clinging to timelines. You learn to rest in the moment, to breathe into the uncertainty. Slowly, the grip of fear loosens. You realize that you don't need to know the whole path. You just need to take the next step. Time will reveal the rest. There is a Zen saying, "Sitting quietly, doing nothing, spring comes and the grass grows by itself." This is the essence of patience. Growth, healing, and wisdom happen naturally in their own time, without your constant interference. When you sit in stillness, when you allow life to unfold without forcing it, the grass grows. Misfortune turns into wisdom. Pain turns into strength. What once felt like meaningless suffering becomes a seed of awakening. So when bad luck comes and you feel restless, remind yourself, everything takes time. Just as the night slowly turns to dawn, just as a tree takes years to bear fruit, your suffering too will transform, but only if you allow it the time to do so. Rushing only prolongs the pain, but patience, steady and calm, turns time into your ally. With patience, misfortune becomes not the end of your journey, but the beginning of your wisdom. 13. Accept the unseen flow. Trust that life knows more than you do. One of the greatest struggles during times of misfortune is the sense of not knowing. You lose something precious, and you cannot understand why. You face setback after setback, and the path ahead looks meaningless. You ask again and again, why is this happening to me? What possible reason could there be for so much bad luck? The human mind craves certainty. It wants answers now. It wants to see the whole picture. And when it cannot, it suffers even more. But Buddhism reminds us of a profound truth. Life is infinitely larger than your limited view. What seems like chaos to you may actually be part of a hidden order. What appears as misfortune may later reveal itself as protection, preparation, or redirection. The river of existence is always flowing, carrying you somewhere, even when you cannot see the destination. The practice is to trust the flow, to surrender to the unseen, to accept that life knows more than you do. Imagine standing at the base of a giant mountain range. From where you stand, the path seems twisted, blocked, and dangerous. You see only the next few stones beneath your feet. But from above, if you could fly like a bird, you would see how the winding path leads to a beautiful valley. In the same way, your perspective in the middle of misfortune is limited. You cannot yet see the wider map. You cannot see what life is weaving behind the curtain. All you can do is walk with trust. This trust is not blind faith. It is wisdom born of observing impermanence and cause and effect. Look back on your life. How many times did something painful eventually reveal itself as a blessing in disguise? How many times did closed doors push you to discover a new path you would never have chosen otherwise? Life has always known more than you, and when you remember this, you realize that even now, in the middle of bad luck, something is unfolding that you cannot yet understand. There is an old Zen parable about a man whose horse ran away. The neighbors said, "How unlucky!" The man replied, "Maybe." Later, the horse returned with several wild horses. The neighbors said, "How lucky!" The man replied again, "Maybe." Then, the man's son broke his leg while trying to tame one of the wild horses. The neighbors gasped, "How unlucky!" Again, the man said, "Maybe." Finally, soldiers came to draft young men for war, but the son was spared because of his broken leg. Now the neighbors rejoiced, "How lucky!" And still, the man said, "Maybe." This story reminds us that what you call bad luck today may be the very thing that saves you tomorrow. What you call good luck today may lead to pain tomorrow. The truth is, you cannot see the whole flow. Only time reveals the full pattern. Wisdom is learning to stop labeling everything as purely good or bad, and instead to rest in trust. Maybe this is guiding me in a way I cannot see yet. Trusting the unseen flow requires humility. It means admitting that you do not have all the answers. Your mind, as clever as it is, cannot comprehend the vast web of causes and conditions that shape life. Every event is connected to countless others across time and space. To think you can fully judge your misfortune in the moment is like reading one line of a book and believing you know the ending. The story is still being written. Patience and trust are what allow you to keep turning the pages until the meaning is revealed. But trust is not passive. It does not mean sitting idle, doing nothing. It means walking forward even without certainty. It means showing up each day, doing your best, even when you cannot see results. It means continuing to practice kindness, wisdom, and compassion, even when life feels unfair. Trust says, "I do not understand this now, but I will keep walking. One day, the path will make sense." Think of water flowing in a river. The current curves, twists, sometimes even seems to move backward, but it is always flowing toward the sea. Your life, too, may curve through dark valleys, unexpected turns, painful setbacks. But the deeper current is always moving you toward growth, toward awakening, toward the ocean of wisdom. You may not feel it in the moment, but when you look back later, you will see how even your misfortunes were part of the flow, When misfortune strikes, you can practice trust by shifting your questions. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" ask, "What if this is guiding me somewhere I cannot yet see?" Instead of asking, "When will this end?" ask, "What is life preparing me for through this experience?" These questions transform your suffering into curiosity. They turn despair into patience. They remind you that the story is not finished. This trust also lightens fear. Much of our suffering comes from imagining worst-case scenarios. We think, if this misfortune continues, I will never survive. But when you trust the flow, you stop creating endless, fearful stories. You rest in the knowledge that life has carried you this far, through storms and struggles, and it will continue to carry you. You realize that you do not need to control every detail. You only need to take the next step. The river will carry you forward. There is also a great peace that comes with trust. When you let go of the need to control everything, your heart softens. You no longer fight against reality. You stop exhausting yourself with endless resistance. Instead, you flow with life as it is. This surrender is not weakness, it is wisdom. It is the recognition that you are part of something vast, something that has been flowing long before you were born and will continue long after you are gone. To align with that flow is to find harmony, even in misfortune. So when bad luck comes and your mind screams for answers, pause, breathe, remember the unseen flow. Say to yourself, "I do not understand this yet, but I trust that life knows more than I do. I will walk patiently, and in time, the meaning will reveal itself." This mindset transforms misfortune into a path of peace. You stop fighting what you cannot see, and instead, you begin to trust the wisdom of the unseen. And one day, when you look back, you will see clearly what you could not see then, that every misfortune was not random, not meaningless, but part of a deeper current guiding you exactly where you needed to go. 14. Let go of control. Freedom is found in surrender. One of the greatest sources of suffering during misfortune is the desperate need to control life. When things go wrong, the first impulse of the human heart is to fight against reality. We say to ourselves, "This shouldn't have happened. I need to fix it immediately. I must make everything go back to how it was." We struggle, resist, push, and exhaust ourselves in a war we can never win. Because the truth is, no matter how much you try, life will never fully bend to your will. Things will change. People will leave. Plans will collapse. Accidents will happen. The illusion of control is shattered again and again. And the more tightly you cling, the more painful it feels when life refuses to obey. Buddhism teaches that clinging to control is one of the deepest roots of human suffering. The Buddha called it upadana, grasping, attachment, the endless attempt to hold on to things that are by nature impermanent. We cling to relationships as if they will never change. We cling to wealth as if it will never slip through our fingers. We cling to health as if the body will never age. And when reality shows us otherwise, we feel attacked, as if life has betrayed us. But life has not betrayed us. Life has only revealed what has always been true, that nothing is fully under our control. The practice of surrender is not giving up. It is not weakness or passivity. It is the courage to accept life as it is, without constant resistance. It is the wisdom to see that peace does not come from controlling the storm, but from letting go of the need for the storm to obey you. True surrender is saying, "I cannot control everything, but I can control how I meet this moment. I choose to meet it with calmness, with compassion, with wisdom." Think of a man caught in a river's current. If he fights the water, thrashing wildly, he exhausts himself and risks drowning. But if he surrenders to the flow, letting the current carry him, he discovers that he can float. In the same way, when you stop fighting life's current, you discover a freedom you never knew. Misfortune may still carry you into unknown places, but instead of drowning in resistance, you begin to move with the flow. When you let go of control, you begin to see clearly. Much of our suffering is caused by clinging to how we believe things should be. We create rigid expectations, and when life does not follow them, we collapse. But when you surrender, you open your heart to new possibilities. You stop insisting that life must follow your script, and you allow life to show you a greater story than you could have imagined. Many times, the things you thought were disasters were actually redirections. A lost job forced you to discover a new calling. A broken relationship taught you self-worth. A delayed dream saved you from harm you could not see. Surrender allows you to accept these redirections with grace. There is a deep relief in surrender. The endless pressure of trying to control everything falls away. You no longer waste energy fighting what is beyond your power. Instead, you focus on what you can do, how you respond, how you think, how you act in this moment. This is where true freedom lies, not in controlling outcomes, but in mastering your response. Life may shake you, but it cannot break you when your peace no longer depends on control. Consider the sky. The sky does not resist the storms. It does not try to push the clouds away. It simply holds them, allows them to pass, and returns to clarity when they are gone. In the same way, your mind can learn to hold both joy and misfortune without clinging or resistance. You do not need to stop the storm. You only need to stop identifying with it. You are the sky, not the passing weather. Surrender also teaches humility. It reminds you that you are not the center of the universe, that life does not exist to serve your personal preferences. This humility is liberating. It softens pride, dissolves the illusion of control, and connects you to the vast flow of existence. Instead of feeling separate, you begin to feel part of something greater. Misfortune no longer feels like an attack. It feels like another wave in the great ocean of life, something to be accepted and endured, not fought against. Many spiritual masters have shown this truth through their lives. They faced poverty, exile, even death, yet they surrendered to life with peace. Their serenity was not because they controlled everything, it was because they had let go of the need to. They discovered a freedom deeper than circumstance, a peace that no storm could steal. And that same peace is available to you here and now if you choose to practice surrender. So when bad luck comes and you feel the urge to fight against it, pause. Ask yourself, what am I trying to control right now that is beyond my power? Breathe. Release your grip. Accept the moment as it is. Then ask, what can I do with calmness and wisdom in this situation? Focus on that alone. This simple shift, letting go of what you cannot control and focusing on what you can, transforms misfortune into freedom. Surrender is not the end of action. It is the beginning of wise action. When you stop wasting energy on the impossible, you free energy for what truly matters. You stop thrashing in the water and learn to swim with the current. You stop fighting the storm and learn to walk steadily through the rain. And in that steadiness, misfortune loses its power over you. Letting go of control does not mean letting go of life. It means finally living life as it is, not as your mind insists it should be. And in that acceptance, you discover a peace beyond luck, a freedom beyond misfortune, a serenity that nothing can take away. 15. Cultivate inner stillness. Silence turns bad luck into clarity. When misfortune strikes, the natural impulse of the human mind is noise. The mind begins to chatter endlessly. Why did this happen? What will I do now? What if things get worse? What if I never recover? This inner storm often hurts more than the misfortune itself. The actual event may be one blow, but the restless mind multiplies it into 1,000 echoes. And the louder that noise becomes, the less clearly you can see the path ahead. Buddhism teaches that true wisdom is born not from noise, but from silence. In silence, the mind becomes like a calm lake, reflecting reality as it truly is. In silence, you stop feeding fear with constant thinking, and you begin to see the deeper truths hidden within your misfortune. Silence is not the absence of sound. It is the presence of awareness. It is the state where you stop being dragged around by thoughts and begin to rest in the clarity of the present. Think of how muddy water clears itself. If you stir it constantly, it remains cloudy. But if you leave it undisturbed, the mud settles and the water becomes transparent. The mind is the same. When bad luck stirs, fear, regret, and worry, your thoughts cloud everything. But if you sit in stillness, patiently and quietly, the mud of confusion settles. Slowly, clarity emerges. You begin to see that misfortune is not the end of your story. It is a chapter with meaning. Monks practice silence not to escape life, but to see it more clearly. They spend hours in meditation, listening not to words, but to the subtle rhythms of breath and awareness. In that silence, the illusions of the mind dissolve. The anger that once felt overwhelming is revealed as fleeting. The fear that seemed permanent is revealed as temporary. In silence, truths that cannot be seen in noise reveal themselves. When you face misfortune, cultivating inner stillness allows you to step out of panic and into perspective. Imagine losing something important, a job, a relationship, an opportunity. If you rush immediately into action driven by fear, you may make choices that only worsen your situation. But if you pause, breathe, and sit in silence, you give yourself the chance to respond with wisdom instead of reaction. Silence gives birth to wise choices. There is also a healing power in silence. The wounds of the heart do not close when you drown them in constant activity, distraction, or anger. They close when you allow yourself to sit quietly with them, to let the pain breathe, to let time and awareness heal it naturally. Just as the body heals itself when you rest, the mind heals itself when you give it the stillness of silence. Silence also teaches humility. In silence, you realize how small you are compared to the vastness of life. The noise of the mind makes you feel like the universe revolves around your suffering. But in silence, you hear the wind, the birds, the breath moving in and out. You realize that life continues, that your pain is part of a larger whole. This humility softens your suffering. You see that you are not alone, that everything is connected, and every being endures its share of storms. Consider the story of the Buddha under the Bodhi tree. Before his awakening, he faced storms of doubt, fear, and temptation. Yet he did not fight them with noise. He sat in stillness. He watched the storms of the mind come and go without reacting. And in that silence, clarity dawned. He saw reality as it truly was, impermanent, interconnected, and empty of fixed self. That moment of stillness transformed him, and it can transform you too. In practical terms, how do you cultivate inner stillness in misfortune? Begin with the breath. Sit quietly, close your eyes, and notice the rise and fall of the inhale and exhale. Each time your mind wanders into fear or regret, gently return to the breath. Do this again and again, patiently. Slowly the noise will soften and a quiet clarity will arise. You may not find answers immediately, but you will find space, and in that space, wisdom grows. Another way is through mindful walking. Instead of pacing anxiously, walk slowly, feeling each step. Notice the ground beneath your feet. Notice the rhythm of your body. This simple act anchors you in the present, pulling you out of the noisy swirl of past and future. Step by step, silence begins to bloom inside you. Journaling can also be a practice of silence, not silence of sound, but silence of judgment. Write your fears, your anger, your confusion without trying to solve them. Let them pour out and then sit quietly with what you have written. Often, in that silent observation, patterns become clear. You begin to see which fears are real and which are just echoes of the restless mind. Silence transforms bad luck because it prevents you from feeding misfortune with extra suffering. Without silence, a single event multiplies into endless chains of worry. With silence, you cut the chain. You face only this moment, only this breath, and in this breath, you are always okay. Misfortune may still hurt, but it no longer defines you. It becomes part of the flow, passing like every thought and every cloud in the sky. In silence, you also discover strength you did not know you had. When the noise fades, you realize that you are bigger than your misfortune. You are not just the person who lost something, who suffered a setback, who faced bad luck. You are awareness itself, the still, vast space in which all these experiences arise and pass. This realization is the heart of Buddhist practice. It is what transforms suffering into wisdom, misfortune into awakening. So when the storms of bad luck come, do not add to them with endless noise. Do not drown yourself in what-ifs and why me. Instead, turn inward, sit in silence, breathe. Allow the mud to settle. Allow clarity to arise on its own. The answers you seek, the peace you crave, the wisdom you long for, they are already within you, waiting beneath the noise. You only need to be still enough to hear them. Bad luck may shake the surface of your life, but in silence, you discover the depth that cannot be shaken. And in that depth, you realize the greatest truth of all. Clarity is always born from stillness. 16. See suffering as a bridge. Every wound opens the way to awakening. Suffering is the one thing every human being shares. No matter where you are born, how wealthy you are, how strong, how intelligent, or how successful, there is no escaping the reality of pain. Loss, sickness, rejection, failure, and eventually death touch every life. We try desperately to avoid it, to hide from it, to pretend that if we are careful enough or lucky enough, suffering will pass us by. But Buddhism begins with the recognition of a profound truth. Suffering is woven into the fabric of existence, and if you learn how to face it with wisdom, suffering is not only bearable, it becomes the very bridge that leads you to awakening. When misfortune strikes, the instinct is to ask, why me? But the deeper question is, why not me? Pain is not a mistake. It is not a punishment. It is not bad luck singling you out. It is life revealing one of its most important teachings, that everything is impermanent, that attachment leads to sorrow, and that true peace cannot be found in external conditions. When you suffer, life is giving you the same lesson the Buddha discovered under the Bodhi tree, that clinging to a life without pain is the greatest illusion of all. Yet this realization is not meant to make you hopeless. It is meant to liberate you. When you see suffering not as an enemy but as a teacher, everything changes. The wound that once felt like a curse becomes an opening. The darkness that once felt like a prison becomes a doorway. Instead of collapsing under misfortune, you begin to walk across it like a bridge, one that leads you to wisdom, compassion, and freedom. Think about the people you admire most. Are they the ones who lived lives of perfect ease, untouched by struggle? Or are they the ones who endured hardship and grew stronger, wiser, and more compassionate because of it? The strongest hearts are often those that have been broken. The kindest souls are often those who have known deep suffering. Pain, when carried with awareness, has the power to shape you into someone far greater than you were before. Consider a story told in many Buddhist traditions. A monk once asked his master, "Why is it that some people, when struck by suffering, grow bitter, while others grow gentle?" The master replied, "Because suffering is like fire. It can burn you and turn you into ashes, or it can refine you like gold. The difference lies in how you meet it. Misfortune is the same. It can make you bitter, closed, and resentful, or it can make you wise, open, and compassionate. The fire itself is not the enemy. It is your relationship with the fire that matters. When you face misfortune, you are standing at a crossroads. One path leads to despair, You resist, you complain, you cling to what you lost, and you grow hardened. The other path leads to awakening. You accept, you observe, you allow the pain to teach you, and you grow deeper. Every suffering is this choice, and every choice builds your destiny. Buddhism also teaches that suffering connects you to others. When you are in pain, you suddenly understand that pain is universal. The loneliness you feel is felt by millions. The grief you carry is carried by countless others. The fear that grips you is the same fear that has gripped every human being since the beginning of time. In this way, suffering dissolves the illusion of separation. You realize that you are not alone. You are part of the vast human family, all walking together through joy and sorrow. This realization awakens compassion. You stop seeing others as strangers. Their suffering is your suffering, and your suffering is theirs. This compassion softens the sharp edges of misfortune and turns your wounds into sources of healing for others. There is also a hidden strength that suffering reveals. Most of us do not know how strong we are until we are tested. When life is easy, we drift comfortably. But when hardship arrives, we discover the depths of our resilience. We find courage we did not know we had. We realize that we can endure more than we imagined. Every suffering, no matter how painful, carries this hidden gift, the revelation of your strength. And once you know that strength, it never leaves you. It becomes a foundation for the rest of your life. But the greatest gift of suffering is the wisdom of impermanence. Pain shows you that nothing lasts. Not pleasure, not pain, not life itself. At first, this truth can feel harsh. But in time, it brings peace. Because if nothing lasts, then even your deepest suffering will pass. If nothing is permanent, then you can stop clinging so desperately. You can stop fighting the flow of life. You can begin to live with a freedom that no good luck or bad luck can take away. How do you practice this in daily life? When misfortune strikes, do not rush to escape it. Do not drown it in distraction, anger, or denial. Instead, pause. Breathe. Allow yourself to feel the pain fully without judgment. Then ask, what is this teaching me? What strength is being awakened in me right now? How is this connecting me to others? How is this showing me the truth of impermanence? By asking these questions, you transform suffering into a teacher. You stop running from it and begin walking with it step by step across the bridge to wisdom. Meditation is one of the most powerful tools here. Sit quietly and bring your awareness to your suffering. Notice how it feels in the body, how it shows up in your thoughts. Do not try to push it away. Simply observe. Over time, you will notice that the pain rises, falls, and changes. It is not solid. It is not permanent. This practice shows you directly that suffering, like all things, comes and goes, and in that realization, you begin to loosen your fear of it. There is a saying in Zen, the obstacle is the path. This means that the very things you wish were not in your life, the obstacles, the failures, the heartbreaks, are the exact things that shape your awakening. You do not awaken in spite of suffering, you awaken because of it. Every wound is an opening, if you have the courage to walk through it. So when bad luck strikes and suffering enters your life, do not see it as the end. See it as a bridge. A difficult bridge, perhaps, narrow and shaky, but one that carries you to a greater truth. Every step you take across it strengthens you. Every step brings you closer to wisdom. And when you reach the other side, you will not only be stronger for yourself, you will carry the light of compassion to guide others across their own bridges. Suffering is not the enemy, it is the path. And when you learn to walk it with awareness, patience, and courage, every misfortune becomes a step toward awakening. 17. Turn bad luck into detachment. Free yourself from the chains of desire. When life brings bad luck, the first wound comes from the event itself, the loss, the rejection, the failure, the accident. But the second and deeper wound often comes from our own attachment. We suffer not only because something went wrong, but because we were clinging to an idea of how life should be. We were holding on too tightly to a person, a dream, a possession, or an expectation. And when life reminded us that nothing lasts, we felt torn apart. Buddhism teaches that at the root of suffering is tanha, craving, the endless thirst of the human heart to grasp what it wants and to push away what it dislikes. To transform misfortune into wisdom, we must learn the art of detachment, not indifference, but freedom from the chains of desire. Detachment is often misunderstood. Some think it means not caring, being cold, shutting yourself off from life. But true detachment is the opposite. It allows you to care more deeply, but without being enslaved by the outcome. Imagine holding a flower in your hand. If you clutch it too tightly, you crush it. If you hold it gently, appreciating its beauty, you can enjoy it fully. And when its time comes to wither, you let it go without despair. This is detachment, to love, to live, to enjoy, but without clinging. Bad luck reveals our attachments in the most painful ways. When you lose money, you realize how tightly you tied your security to wealth. When someone leaves you, you see how much of your identity depended on their presence. When a dream collapses, you feel how much of your worth was chained to that single outcome. Misfortune acts like a mirror, showing you the desires that control you. And once you see them clearly, you have the chance to free yourself. The Buddha compared craving to drinking salty water. The more you drink, the thirstier you become. You think satisfying desire will bring peace, but instead it creates deeper hunger. When life denies you what you crave, when bad luck snatches away what you thought you needed, it is painful, but it is also an opportunity. It is the universe showing you where your chains are. If you use the moment wisely, you can begin to loosen them. Think of the countless times you thought you could not live without something, a possession, a person, a job, a status. You feared its loss would destroy you, and then you lost it. The pain was real, but over time, you survived. You even grew. You discovered that life went on, and that you were larger than the thing you lost. This is the secret gift of misfortune. It breaks the illusion that you are dependent on external things for your existence. It forces you to discover the strength of simply being. Detachment does not mean you renounce all action or abandon your responsibilities. It means you act without clinging to results. You work hard, but you do not tie your worth to success. You love deeply, but you do not imprison others with your attachment. You care for your body, but you accept that aging and death will come. This attitude transforms every misfortune. A failure no longer destroys you because your identity is not chained to achievement. A rejection no longer defines you because your worth is not dependent on approval. A loss no longer breaks you because you do not cling to what cannot be held forever. There is a story of a monk who carried a beautiful bowl given to him as a gift. One day, another monk asked him, "Do you own this bowl?" The monk replied, "No, the bowl is already broken." What he meant was that, in his mind, he had already accepted that one day the bowl would crack, chip, or be lost. By letting go in advance, he was free to enjoy the bowl fully while it lasted. And when the day came that it broke, he did not suffer. This is the essence of detachment: to see impermanence clearly, to accept it, and to live freely within it. Misfortune becomes a teacher of detachment because it forces you to face impermanence directly. When something you clung to is taken away, you can either curse life for its cruelty or bow to life for its lesson. If you choose the second, every bad luck becomes a doorway to freedom. Every loss becomes a release from chains. Every rejection becomes a reminder that you are whole even without what you craved. Practicing detachment also opens the door to deeper compassion. When you are no longer obsessed with your own cravings, you have space to see the suffering of others. You realize that everyone is bound by desires. Everyone suffers when they cling. This recognition softens you. You stop judging people harshly for their struggles because you see that they are trapped in the same cycle of craving and loss. Your heart grows more open, and your suffering becomes fuel for kindness. Detachment is cultivated slowly through mindfulness. Begin by watching your cravings in small daily events. Notice how upset you become when plans change, when you lose something trivial, when you do not get what you expected. Instead of feeding the anger, simply observe it. This is attachment arising. With practice, you begin to see that attachments are thoughts, not unbreakable truths. They rise, they fade, they pass. Meditation deepens this practice. Sit quietly and observe sensations in the body. Notice how even pain changes from moment to moment. Notice how thoughts appear and vanish. You begin to see directly that everything is impermanent. With this insight, the grip of desire weakens. You taste the freedom of simply being present, without clinging, without pushing away. Detachment does not make life dull. On the contrary, it makes life more vivid. When you are no longer obsessed with holding on, you can appreciate things fully while they last. A sunset becomes more beautiful because you know it will fade. A conversation becomes more precious because you know it will end. A moment of joy becomes more profound because you know it is fleeting. Detachment does not numb you, it awakens you. It allows you to love more deeply, not less, because your love is free, not chained. So when bad luck visits, let it teach you where you are clinging. Ask yourself, what am I holding on to that life is asking me to release? Then practice loosening your grip. At first, it may feel painful, as if you are losing everything. But in time, you will realize that what you are losing are chains, not treasures. The true treasure is freedom. Detachment is the doorway to peace. When you are no longer enslaved by desire, misfortune cannot control you. You can walk through storms with calmness, through loss with dignity, through change with serenity. You can love without fear, work without attachment, live without clinging. This is the highest transformation of bad luck, not turning it into good luck, but using it to free yourself from the chains of craving. In the end, misfortune will come for all of us. But if you meet it with detachment, every loss becomes liberation, every wound becomes wisdom, and every ending becomes the beginning of freedom. 18. Transform bad luck into gratitude. Finding light in the shadows. When misfortune strikes, gratitude is often the last thing on our minds. How can you possibly be grateful when you've lost something dear, when your plans collapse, when the weight of bad luck presses down on your chest? Gratitude feels unnatural in those moments, even impossible. And yet, Buddhism teaches that gratitude is not about denying suffering or pretending that pain doesn't hurt. Gratitude is about seeing the whole picture of life, about recognizing that even in the shadows, there is still light. Gratitude does not erase misfortune, it transforms your relationship with it. Most people believe that gratitude is only for the good times, for blessings, for fortune, for moments of joy. But the deeper practice of gratitude is learning to be thankful even in hardship. Why? Because suffering too carries gifts. Loss teaches you impermanence. Failure teaches you resilience. Rejection teaches you self-worth. Every misfortune, if met with awareness, gives you something precious, a lesson, a strength, a wisdom that you could not have gained without it. Gratitude is the practice of recognizing these hidden treasures, even when your heart is heavy. Think about your own life. How many times did something you once cursed as bad luck later reveal itself as a turning point? A lost job that pushed you into a new career. A heartbreak that taught you what love truly means. A failure that stripped away arrogance and replaced it with humility. In the moment, these events felt unbearable. But with time, you saw their hidden gifts. Gratitude is the ability to see those gifts now, even while you are still in the storm. The Buddha taught that the mind creates suffering not only from pain itself, but from fixation, focusing so much on what is wrong that you ignore everything else. Gratitude is the antidote. It shifts your attention, reminding you that even in misfortune, not everything is lost. You may have lost wealth, but you still have health. You may have lost a relationship, but you still have friends. You may have lost a dream, but you still have the ability to dream again. Gratitude trains the mind to see abundance where the restless mind sees only lack. There is a Zen saying, "The obstacle is the path." Gratitude makes this real. Instead of seeing the obstacle only as an enemy, gratitude allows you to see how it shapes you, how it strengthens you, how it carries you forward. When you learn to say, "Thank you even for this," you transform misfortune into fuel for awakening. The very thing that once felt like it would destroy you becomes the thing that deepens your wisdom. 19. Embrace impermanence. Bad luck is the teacher of change. At the heart of Buddhism lies a simple but profound truth. Everything changes. Nothing in this world is permanent. People grow and fade. Wealth rises and falls. Health strengthens and weakens. Joy appears and disappears like clouds in the sky. This is the law of anicca, impermanence. And yet, much of human suffering comes from our refusal to accept this truth. We cling to things as if they will last forever. We resist endings as if they should never come. We build our lives on shifting sand, and then we cry out in despair when the ground moves beneath us. Bad luck, painful as it is, becomes the great reminder of impermanence. When life runs smoothly, it is easy to fall asleep in the illusion that things will always remain as they are. You begin to believe that your health, your relationships, your possessions, your status are fixed. Then, in a single moment, misfortune tears through that illusion. A loss, a failure, an accident, a betrayal. Suddenly you are confronted with the reality that nothing is guaranteed. It feels cruel, but in truth, it is a lesson. Misfortune is impermanence revealing itself, urging you to wake up. At first, this truth feels harsh. We resist it with all our might. We want permanence in love, in success, in security. We dream of a life untouched by endings. But Buddhism teaches that peace is found not in resisting impermanence, but in embracing it. When you learn to live with open hands, knowing that everything you hold will one day slip away, you stop clinging so desperately. You begin to savor life more deeply, because you know each moment is precious and fleeting. You begin to accept loss with greater peace, because you know it is the natural rhythm of existence. Think of a cherry blossom. It blooms brilliantly for only a short time before the petals fall. Its beauty lies not in its permanence, but in its fragility. If it bloomed forever, you might stop noticing it. But because it is brief, it moves you deeply. Life is the same. Its fleeting nature is what gives it meaning. Impermanence is not your enemy. It is the very thing that makes life beautiful. Bad luck, then, is not just misfortune. It is impermanence showing itself. It is life reminding you not to take anything for granted. The job you lost was never truly yours forever. The relationship that ended was never guaranteed. The body that weakens was always destined to age. Misfortune forces you to face these truths. And if you face them with awareness, you discover a freedom beyond clinging. Embracing impermanence does not mean becoming passive or hopeless. It does not mean you stop loving, stop working, or stop caring. It means you love without clinging, you work without attachment, you care without illusion. You pour yourself fully into each moment, knowing it will pass. And because you know it will pass, you give it your full attention now. Impermanence teaches presence. It pulls you out of the restless chase for forever and grounds you in the richness of today. When misfortune strikes, instead of asking, "Why did this change happen?" ask, "What is impermanent that I was clinging to as permanent?" This question shifts your perspective. You stop seeing bad luck as punishment and start seeing it as a teacher. You realize that life did not betray you. It simply revealed the truth of impermanence. And in that realization, your suffering begins to soften. Meditation is a powerful way to practice this. Sit quietly and watch sensations in the body. Notice how each breath rises and falls. Notice how thoughts appear and vanish. Notice how even pain shifts and changes from moment to moment. Nothing stays, everything moves. By observing impermanence directly, you begin to release your clinging. You see that holding on tightly to what cannot stay is the root of your suffering. Letting go becomes natural, not forced. Impermanence also deepens compassion. When you see that everything passes, you treasure the people around you more deeply. You stop taking them for granted. You realize that every conversation, every embrace, every smile may be the last. Instead of clinging, you cherish. Instead of demanding, you appreciate. Impermanence teaches you to love more fully, not less. Even your suffering, if seen through impermanence, becomes lighter. In the middle of pain, it feels eternal. You think, this will never end. I will never recover. But when you remember impermanence, you realize this too will pass. No storm lasts forever. No night stays without dawn. Every wound heals in time. Every sorrow softens. Every storm gives way to calm. Impermanence is not only the end of joy, it is also the end of suffering. So when bad luck comes, do not see it only as loss. See it as the teacher of impermanence. Let it remind you to loosen your grip, to open your hands, to treasure what you have while you have it, and to release it gracefully when it goes. Let it teach you that life is not about building unshakable walls, but about learning to dance with change. Impermanence is the universal law. You cannot fight it, but you can align with it. And when you do, misfortune loses its sting. Change becomes less frightening. Loss becomes less devastating. You discover a peace that does not depend on holding things still, but on flowing with life as it truly is. Bad luck is not the end. It is impermanence reminding you to wake up. And when you embrace it, every ending becomes the beginning of wisdom, and every loss becomes a lesson in freedom. 20. Turn bad luck into compassion. Your pain can heal the world. When misfortune enters your life, the first reaction is often isolation. You feel as if you are the only one suffering, singled out by fate, cursed by bad luck, while others live in peace. But as Buddhism teaches, suffering is universal. Every being, in one form or another, carries wounds. The illusion that you are alone in pain is what makes misfortune feel unbearable. The truth that everyone suffers is what transforms pain into compassion. And compassion, once awakened, becomes the medicine that heals not only your wounds, but also the wounds of others. When your own heart breaks, you begin to feel the brokenness of others more deeply. A person who has never known hunger cannot truly understand the tears of the starving. But someone who has gone to bed with an empty stomach feels that pain in their bones when they see it in another. A person who has never known rejection may sympathize, but cannot truly feel the sting of being cast aside. But someone who has cried those tears recognizes the same sorrow in another's eyes. This is the hidden gift of misfortune. It cracks open the shell of self-centeredness and reveals the shared humanity beneath. Buddhism teaches the practice of karuna, compassion. Compassion is not pity. It is not looking down on others and saying, "Poor you." It is the deep recognition that their suffering is also your suffering, that life has tied all beings together in a web of shared impermanence, loss, and longing. When you see this clearly, the pain in your own life becomes the bridge that connects you to others. Instead of asking, "Why me?" you begin to ask, "How can my experience help me understand and support others?" Think about the people who have touched your life the most. Were they people who never struggled, who lived untouched by misfortune? Or were they people who endured hardship, yet carried their scars with gentleness and understanding? The teachers, friends, and guides who truly comfort us are rarely the ones who lived easy lives. They are the ones who have walked through fire, and because of that, they know how to hold others gently when they burn. Your misfortune, if carried with awareness, gives you that same gift. Compassion transforms suffering because it shifts your focus outward. When misfortune strikes, the mind collapses inward, circling endlessly around my pain, my loss, my bad luck. This self-centered focus magnifies suffering. But when you turn your gaze toward others, when you recognize that countless beings suffer just as you do, your burden feels lighter, not because the pain is gone, but because it is no longer just yours. You see it as part of the shared human experience, and in that recognition, you feel less isolated, less cursed, less alone. There is a powerful Buddhist practice called Tonglen, meaning sending and receiving. In this meditation, you breathe in the suffering of others, and you breathe out compassion, healing, and peace. At first, this seems impossible. Why would anyone want to take in more suffering? But the truth is, you are not adding to your pain, you are transforming it. You are taking the fire of your own misfortune and using it as fuel to generate compassion for the whole world. In doing so, your suffering becomes meaningful. It no longer feels wasted. It becomes part of a greater healing. Compassion also prevents bitterness. Many people, when struck by bad luck, close their hearts. They become resentful, jealous of others, hardened against life. But compassion softens the heart instead of closing it. It says, "Yes, I have suffered, but so has everyone. Let my pain make me kinder, not harsher." This choice determines whether misfortune destroys you or awakens you. Think of 𝗕𝗂𝗃𝗃𝗵𝗀, a woman in the time of the Buddha who lost her only child. Grief consumed her, and she begged the Buddha to bring the child back. The Buddha told her to find a mustard seed from a house that had never known death. She went from home to home, and everywhere she went, she found death had touched each family. Slowly, she realized that suffering was universal, that her pain was not hers alone. In that realization, her grief transformed into compassion. Her heart softened, not only toward her own pain, but toward the pain of all beings. Misfortune became her awakening. Your misfortune can do the same. When you lose, you understand the lonely. When you fail, you understand the ashamed. When you grieve, you understand the broken-hearted. And when you carry that understanding into the world, you become a source of healing. Your scars become lanterns, guiding others in their darkness. This does not mean you must preach or solve everyone's problems. Compassion often speaks most loudly through presence. Sometimes the greatest gift you can give is simply to sit with someone in silence, holding their hand, letting them know they are not alone. Because you have known suffering, you know the value of such presence. Misfortune teaches you not only how to endure your own pain, but how to ease the pain of others. Even small acts of compassion ripple outward. A kind word to a stranger, a moment of patience with a friend, a gesture of generosity towards someone in need. These actions may seem small, but they are born of your own encounters with suffering. They carry the weight of authenticity. They are not abstract kindness, they are compassion. 21. Find strength in resilience. Bad luck as the training ground of the spirit. When bad luck strikes, it often feels like the collapse of everything you relied on. A sudden illness, the loss of work, betrayal by a loved one, a financial downfall, or the simple accumulation of small misfortunes that weigh the heart down. All of these moments can feel unbearable. And yet, within the Buddhist path, these very storms are seen not as the end of your strength, but as the training ground where strength is discovered and refined. Resilience is not born in comfort. A tree that grows in still air develops shallow roots, easily torn from the ground when a storm finally arrives. But a tree that grows in constant wind develops roots that reach deep into the earth, anchoring it firmly even as storms rage. In the same way, bad luck may feel like it is tearing at your life, but in truth, it is forcing your roots to grow deeper. It is building a resilience that could never come from ease. Buddhism calls this adhitthana, determination, the unwavering resolve to continue walking the path no matter what arises. The Buddha himself embodied this resilience. Sitting under the Bodhi tree, he was tested by every force of fear, desire, and doubt. Mara, the lord of illusion, threw storms, demons, and temptations at him, but he did not move. He sat with resilience, anchored in the vow to awaken. That same power lies within you. When misfortune strikes, your resilience is your Bodhi tree, your place of sitting firm, refusing to collapse, even when the storm howls. The first step toward resilience is shifting how you see hardship. Most people see difficulty only as an enemy. They say, if only my life had no obstacles, I would be happy. But obstacles are what make you strong. A muscle grows only by being challenged. Wisdom grows only by facing confusion. Compassion grows only by knowing sorrow. Resilience grows only by walking through storms. When you begin to see bad luck as training rather than punishment, you stop asking, why me, and begin asking, what strength is this moment building in me? Consider the practice of walking meditation in Zen. Monks walk slowly, one step at a time, often on uneven ground. Each stone, each slope, each discomfort is not avoided. It is embraced as part of the path. Life is the same. The rough stones of misfortune strengthen your step. Without them, your spirit remains fragile. With them, your spirit becomes unshakable. Resilience is not about never falling. It is about always rising. Even the Buddha fell many times before enlightenment, in lifetimes of striving, failing, and learning. Every fall was a lesson. Every failure was part of his awakening. In the same way, your misfortunes are not proof of weakness. They are proof that you are alive, learning, and being trained for greater strength. Bad luck often teaches resilience through endurance. There are trials you cannot solve instantly. Grief that takes years to soften, wounds that heal slowly, situations that cannot be forced. In those moments, resilience means staying steady, not giving up, not collapsing into despair. Every day you endure, every step you take builds a quiet strength. And one day, you look back and realize, what once felt unbearable has now become part of your foundation. There is a story of a bamboo tree. For years after being planted, it shows almost no growth above the ground. People mock it, thinking it is weak. But underground, its roots are spreading, creating a vast network of strength. And then, one day, it shoots upward rapidly, growing taller than all the others. Misfortune often works the same way. It may feel like you are stuck, making no progress. But beneath the surface, resilience is growing roots. And when the time comes, that hidden strength will carry you higher than before. Resilience is also built through letting go of the illusion of perfection. Bad luck shatters the belief that life should always go according to plan. It humbles you, reminding you that you are not in control of everything. And in that humility, resilience grows. You stop demanding that life be easy, and you begin to prepare your heart for both ease and difficulty. This readiness itself is strength. Buddhism teaches the image of the lotus. Its petals remain unstained, even though it grows in the mud. Resilience is this quality, to walk through suffering without letting it stain your heart. You may feel pain, but you do not become bitterness. You may face failure, but you do not become defeat. You may encounter loss, but you do not lose yourself. Like the lotus, you rise clean and strong from the very mud that tried to bury you. How can you practice resilience in daily life? Begin with small challenges. When something minor goes wrong, instead of complaining, use it as training. A delay in traffic becomes practice in patience. A disagreement becomes practice in listening. A small failure becomes practice in humility. Each small act of resilience prepares you for greater storms. By the time major misfortune strikes, you have already built the muscle to endure. Meditation strengthens resilience by training the mind to stay present. When you sit in silence, your thoughts, fears, and discomforts arise. The instinct is to run, to distract, to avoid. But in meditation, you practice staying. You learn to breathe with discomfort rather than escape it. This practice mirrors life. When misfortune arises, resilience means staying. breathing, enduring, and trusting that the storm will pass. Resilience does not mean being rigid. A rigid tree snaps in strong winds, but a flexible tree bends and survives. In the same way, true resilience includes adaptability. Sometimes strength means standing firm. Other times it means bending, changing direction, or finding a new path. Misfortune teaches this flexibility. When one plan fails, you learn to create another. When one door closes, you learn to seek another opening. The ability to bend without breaking is resilience at its highest form. Compassion also fuels resilience. When you suffer only for yourself, pain feels heavier. But when you endure not only for your sake, but to help others, your burden becomes lighter. Parents endure hardships for their children. Teachers endure difficulties for their students. Bodhisattvas endure countless lifetimes of suffering for the sake of all beings. When you connect your resilience to a purpose beyond yourself, misfortune no longer feels meaningless. It becomes part of your offering to the world. So when bad luck comes, remember, this is your training ground. Every setback is strengthening your roots. Every loss is teaching you humility. Every failure is shaping your wisdom. Every sorrow is deepening your compassion. Misfortune is not here to destroy you. It is here to forge you into someone stronger, wiser, and freer than you were before. Resilience does not mean life will stop testing you. It means you will no longer collapse when tested. You will bend like bamboo, rise like the lotus, and endure like the mountain. And in that endurance, you will discover a strength that is not shaken by luck. A strength that belongs to you forever. 22. Transform bad luck into wisdom. Every misfortune holds a hidden teaching. When bad luck strikes, most people only see the pain. They see the loss, the rejection, the failure, the accident, and they label it as meaningless suffering. They feel cursed, abandoned, singled out by fate. But in Buddhism, nothing is without meaning. Every experience, joyful or painful, fortunate or unfortunate, carries the potential to teach you. Misfortune, though heavy, is often the most powerful teacher of all. It strips away illusions, forces you to face truths you would otherwise ignore, and gives you lessons that comfort could never provide. If you learn to approach bad luck with awareness, every misfortune becomes a classroom, every wound becomes a textbook, and every hardship becomes a teaching that guides you toward awakening. Wisdom does not grow in ease. When life is smooth, it is easy to drift through days half asleep, believing you understand, while in truth you are just coasting. But when bad luck comes, you are shaken awake. You are forced to question your assumptions, to look deeper, to ask, what is this teaching me? That question is the key to transformation. Without it, suffering makes you bitter. With it, suffering makes you wise. Think about the teachings hidden in common misfortunes. Loss teaches impermanence. Failure teaches humility. Rejection teaches self-reliance. Illness teaches gratitude for health. Loneliness teaches the value of connection. Poverty teaches simplicity. In each case, the pain itself is real, but within that pain is a truth that, if learned, becomes wisdom. Without the experience of bad luck, these lessons would remain abstract ideas. With it, they become living truths engraved on your heart. There is a story in Zen about a student who complained to his master, "Why must life be filled with so much hardship? Why can't the path to wisdom be smooth?" The master handed him a rough stone and said, "Rub this stone until it becomes a mirror." The student rubbed, and in time the stone's surface became smooth and reflective. The master explained, "Your suffering is the rubbing. Without it, your heart remains dull. With it, your heart becomes polished, able to reflect truth clearly. Misfortune is this polishing. It may hurt, but it is shaping you into clarity. When you face misfortune, the first reaction is often resistance. This should not have happened. I do not deserve this. But wisdom grows when you shift the question from resistance to reflection. Instead of, "Why me?" ask, "What is this teaching me?" This shift transforms suffering from meaningless punishment into meaningful growth. Even if you cannot see the lesson immediately, holding the question itself softens despair and opens the door to wisdom. Misfortune often teaches humility. Success and good fortune can inflate the ego, making you believe you are untouchable. But one stroke of bad luck, a failure, a loss, shatters that illusion. At first, it feels cruel, but in time, you see that humility is one of the greatest forms of wisdom. It grounds you, makes you compassionate, reminds you that you are human just like everyone else. Without misfortune, many people would remain trapped in pride. With it, they learn the humility that opens the heart to truth. Misfortune also teaches resilience. A person who never faces hardship may remain fragile, but one who has endured storms learns an inner strength that nothing can break. You may think your suffering is weakening you, but in truth, it is forging a strength you cannot yet see. That strength, once revealed, becomes wisdom. The wisdom that you can endure, that you are larger than any single loss, that storms always pass. Another teaching hidden in misfortune is compassion. When you suffer, you begin to understand the suffering of others more deeply. Before misfortune, you may sympathize in theory. After misfortune, you empathize from the heart. You know what it feels like to be broken, rejected, or afraid, and this knowing makes you kinder. Compassion born from suffering is not shallow. It is wisdom because it recognizes the shared nature of human experience. In meditation, you can deepen this transformation. When you sit with your pain instead of running from it, you begin to see it clearly. You notice that pain is not solid. It rises, shifts, and fades. You notice that thoughts about misfortune make it heavier than it really is. You notice that even in suffering, moments of peace can appear. These insights are wisdom, not ideas, but direct experiences that change how you see life. Without sitting with your misfortune, these truths remain hidden. Bad luck also teaches the impermanence of identity. You may think, I am successful, I am loved, I am healthy. And then misfortune tears away that identity. At first, this feels like death, but with awareness, you realize that you are not those identities. You are something deeper, the awareness in which all experiences arise and pass. This is profound wisdom, to see that who you truly are cannot be destroyed by misfortune. The key is openness. If you close your heart during bad luck, you gain nothing but bitterness. If you open your heart, you discover wisdom hidden in the pain. This openness does not erase suffering, but it transforms it. A closed heart says, I have lost everything. An open heart says, I have lost much, but I have also gained insight. The difference is not in the event, but in the attitude. So when misfortune comes, practice pausing. Breathe. Ask yourself, what teaching is hidden here? Perhaps the lesson will not be clear immediately. Perhaps it will take months or years. But by holding the question, you train your mind to look for wisdom instead of despair. And with time, you will look back and see how every misfortune shaped you, polished you, and guided you to awakening. Misfortune is not meaningless. It is one of the deepest teachers you will ever have. Its lessons are not given gently, but they are priceless. Every time life strikes you down, it is also offering you a truth. And if you have the courage to listen, your suffering becomes not just suffering, it becomes wisdom. 23rd. Walk the path of acceptance. Freedom begins where resistance ends. When bad luck comes, the first instinct of the mind is to resist. Something happens that you do not want, and immediately thoughts arise. This should not have happened. Life is unfair. I cannot bear this. The heart tightens, the body tenses, the mind fills with endless why and what if. This resistance often hurts more than the misfortune itself. The event may strike only once, but the resistance multiplies the pain 1,000 times. Buddhism teaches that true freedom begins not by resisting life, but by accepting it as it is. Acceptance does not erase suffering, but it dissolves the second arrow, the suffering you add by refusing to allow what already is. The Buddha compared life's difficulties to being struck by an arrow. The first arrow is the pain itself, the loss, the rejection, the illness, the failure. The second arrow is your reaction, the anger, denial, self-pity, and endless mental struggle. You cannot always avoid the first arrow, but the second arrow is optional. Acceptance is what drops the second arrow. It says, "This hurts, but I will not make it worse by fighting against reality." Acceptance is often misunderstood. Many believe it means passivity, weakness, or giving up. But true acceptance is strength. It takes courage to face reality as it is without denial, without excuses, without wishing it away. It takes wisdom to bow to the truth of impermanence and change, even when your heart aches. Acceptance does not mean you stop acting. It means you act from clarity instead of resistance. It means you move forward with peace instead of being trapped in bitterness. Think of water flowing around a rock. If the water resisted, insisting the rock should not be there, it would crash endlessly and exhaust itself. But water accepts the rock. It flows around it, over it, through it. In time, the rock itself is shaped and softened by the water. Your life is the same. When you resist misfortune, you crash again and again, exhausting your spirit. When you accept, you flow, you adapt, you discover new paths. And in time, even the hardest obstacles are softened by your calm persistence. Bad luck is often the teacher of acceptance. When things do not go your way, you have two choices: resist and suffer, or accept and find peace. Acceptance does not remove the pain, but it removes the unnecessary struggle. It allows you to breathe again, even in the middle of loss. It creates space in your heart for healing to begin. 24. See bad luck as the teacher of letting go. Freedom is found in release. One of the deepest roots of human suffering is clinging. We hold on tightly to people, possessions, identities, and dreams as if they will last forever. We say, "This is mine. This must stay. This cannot change." But life has its own law. Everything changes, everything passes, everything eventually slips through your hands. When bad luck strikes, when you lose someone, something, or some part of yourself, it feels unbearable because it tears at the very thing you were clinging to. Yet within this pain is a profound teaching, the art of letting go. Buddhism teaches that all suffering arises from attachment. We cling to what is pleasant and push away what is unpleasant, creating endless struggle against impermanence. Bad luck is the reminder that clinging cannot protect you. No matter how hard you hold, life will take, change, and transform. The path to freedom lies not in holding tighter, but in loosening your grip. Letting go does not mean losing love, joy, or meaning. It means discovering a love and joy so spacious that they do not depend on possession. Think of holding sand in your hand. If you squeeze too tightly, it slips through your fingers. If you hold it gently, it remains. Life is like that sand. When you clutch desperately at people, experiences, or outcomes, they slip away. When you hold them lightly, appreciating them while they last and releasing them when they go, you live in harmony with impermanence. Bad luck, painful though it is, trains you in this gentle holding. It forces you to let go of what you cannot keep, and in that release, you discover freedom. Letting go is not easy. The mind resists. It says, if I let go, I will lose everything. If I release this attachment, I will have nothing. But the truth is the opposite. Clinging is what empties you, because it ties your happiness to what cannot stay. Letting go fills you, because it frees you to love fully in the present. When you let go of the illusion of control, you gain the reality of peace. When you let go of expectations, you gain openness to what life brings. When you let go of what has already left, you gain the ability to walk forward. Bad luck is often the harshest but most effective teacher of this truth. A broken relationship teaches you to love without ownership. A lost job teaches you that your worth is not tied to status. A serious illness teaches you that your body, too, must one day be released. Each loss strips away an illusion, painful but necessary. Each misfortune says, this too is impermanent. Release it, or you will suffer twice if you resist. You carry the weight of grief and bitterness. If you let go, the pain remains, but it passes through you instead of trapping you. There is a Zen parable of two monks traveling on a muddy road. They came to a river where a woman waited, unable to cross. One monk refused to help, keeping strict vows. The other monk lifted her and carried her across. Hours later, the first monk exploded. "How could you carry that woman? We are not supposed to touch women." The second monk replied, "I set her down hours ago. Why are you still carrying her?" This is the essence of letting go. How often do we continue to carry past misfortunes long after they have ended? How often do we relive insults, betrayals, or losses, poisoning ourselves with what is already gone? Bad luck demands to be felt, yes, but once it has passed, it is wisdom to put it down. Letting go also deepens compassion. When you release your own burdens, you see more clearly how others cling and suffer. You recognize their pain because you have walked through it. You learn to hold others gently without trying to control them, without demanding permanence. Letting go of control opens space for true love, love that gives freedom, not chains. Meditation is the practice ground for letting go. As you sit, thoughts arise. Some are pleasant, some painful. If you cling, you are carried away. If you resist, you only strengthen them. But if you watch gently, allowing them to come and go, you discover the power of release. The same is true for emotions. Anger, grief, fear, they arise like storms. If you cling or resist, they linger. If you let go, they move through like clouds. Misfortune teaches you this directly. The only way to survive loss is to release what cannot stay. Letting go does not mean forgetting. It does not mean you erase love or memories. It means you release the demand that they remain unchanged. You honor the past without clinging to it. You carry love in your heart without trying to hold people in your fist. You allow life to move, and you move with it. This is not coldness. It is wisdom. It is the only way to walk through misfortune without breaking. So when bad luck comes and your heart cries out, "I cannot lose this," pause, breathe, ask yourself, am I clinging to what life is already asking me to release? If the answer is yes, practice loosening your grip. It will hurt, but the hurt of letting go is lighter than the endless suffering of clinging. And as you release, you will discover something surprising: the freedom of being able to walk lightly without chains. Bad luck will always bring endings, but if you learn the art of letting go, every ending becomes also a beginning. You are not emptied. You are made spacious. You are not broken. You are made open, and in that openness you discover the deepest truth. Freedom is not found in holding on. Freedom is found in release. 25. Discover the power of perspective. How you see bad luck shapes what it becomes. Every moment of misfortune carries two stories: the story told by the event itself and the story told by your mind. The first story is simple. You lost something. You failed at something. Someone betrayed you, or circumstances collapsed around you. But the second story, the one your mind builds, is where most of the suffering lies. You say to yourself, "This is the worst thing that ever happened. My life is ruined. Nothing will ever get better. I am cursed." This story multiplies your pain. It turns one blow of bad luck into 1,000 blows repeated endlessly in thought. Yet Buddhism teaches that perspective is the true master of experience. How you see misfortune shapes what it becomes. Perspective does not deny reality. It does not pretend that pain is pleasure or that loss is gain. But perspective changes the meaning you give to pain. The same event can destroy one person and awaken another, depending on how they see it. A broken heart may drive one into despair and another into deeper compassion. A lost job may leave one person hopeless and another person inspired to discover their true path. The difference lies not in the misfortune, but in the perspective. Buddhism calls this right view, the ability to see clearly, to understand suffering not as punishment, but as part of life's path. Right view means recognizing impermanence in every loss, karma in every consequence, and opportunity in every setback. It means seeing misfortune not only as pain, but also as teacher. With this perspective, nothing is wasted. Every moment becomes fuel for growth. Think of a man walking through a forest who trips over a stone. One perspective says, "How unlucky, this stone ruined my journey." Another perspective says, "This stone reminded me to watch my steps more carefully." The stone is the same, but the meaning changes everything. The first story makes him bitter. The second makes him wiser. Life is full of stones. Your perspective decides whether they are curses or teachers. When bad luck comes, perspective allows you to widen the lens. In the narrow lens of the moment, pain feels absolute. But in the wide lens of time, you often see that what felt unbearable was temporary, and what felt meaningless was shaping something greater. Perspective means remembering that the story is not finished yet. The chapter of misfortune is not the end of the book. Meditation trains perspective by creating space between event and reaction. When you sit and observe thoughts, you begin to see them as just thoughts, not absolute truths. You notice how quickly the mind turns an event into a story of doom. With practice, you learn not to believe every thought. You learn to ask, "Is this perspective helping me or hurting me?" And slowly, you train yourself to choose perspectives that lead to wisdom, not despair. Perspective is also shaped by gratitude. When you practice noticing what remains instead of only what is lost, your view changes. You begin to see that misfortune does not erase everything, it only changes part of the picture. Gratitude widens your vision so that you see both the shadows and the light. And in that balance, suffering becomes lighter. Bad luck can even become a mirror of perspective itself. The same storm that drowns one sailor teaches another how to sail. The same fire that destroys one house inspires another builder to create stronger foundations. Misfortune is raw energy. Your perspective shapes whether it becomes destruction or transformation. Consider the story of a farmer whose horse ran away, often told in Zen teachings. The neighbors cried, "Such bad luck." The farmer replied, "Maybe." The horse returned with more horses, and the neighbors cheered, "Such good luck." Again the farmer said, "Maybe." His son broke his leg while taming one of the horses, and the neighbors lamented, "Such bad luck." The farmer said, "Maybe." Then soldiers came to draft young men for war, but the son was spared. "Such good luck," the neighbors exclaimed. Still, the farmer only said, "Maybe." This story shows that perspective is never final. What you call misfortune today may become fortune tomorrow. What you call fortune today may bring pain tomorrow. The wise perspective is to stay balanced, to see both gain and loss as part of the greater flow. When you practice this perspective, misfortune loses its power to break you. You stop asking life to be only good, only easy, only lucky. You accept that both light and shadow shape the picture. And with that acceptance, you find freedom. So when bad luck strikes, pause, step back, ask yourself, what perspective am I choosing? Am I narrowing my vision to only pain, or am I widening it to see the lesson, the impermanence, the possibility? With the right perspective, every misfortune becomes part of your awakening. It no longer defines you as cursed. It refines you as wise. Bad luck will always come, but your perspective will always decide. Will this be the stone that makes you fall, or the stone that sharpens your step? Will this be the fire that destroys you, or the fire that forges you? Perspective is the true alchemy of suffering, and when you learn to shape your view wisely, misfortune becomes not the end of your story, but the beginning of your strength. We began this journey with a single question: what should you do when bad luck strikes? The human instinct is to resist, to despair, to believe that misfortune has cursed you. But step by step through these reflections, a deeper truth has unfolded. Bad luck is not a curse, it is a teacher. It is not the end of your path, it is the beginning of your awakening. Each point has shown a different face of the same wisdom. Misfortune teaches cause and effect, reminding you that your choices shape your path. It teaches presence, pulling you out of endless worry and into the stillness of now. It teaches resilience, humility, compassion, and patience. It teaches impermanence, letting go, and perspective. It humbles the ego and strengthens the heart. It cracks open the illusion of permanence and control, showing you that peace is not found in clinging to luck, but in walking with wisdom. Think back on your own life. The moments you thought would break you, did they not also shape you? The losses you thought you could not survive, did they not also deepen your compassion? The failures that left you on your knees, did they not also teach you strength you never knew you had? Every scar is a reminder that you endured. Every misfortune is proof that you are still here, still breathing, still walking. And within that walking, wisdom has been growing. Buddhism teaches that the lotus grows from the mud. Without mud, there is no lotus. Without suffering, there is no awakening. Without bad luck, there is no chance to discover the depth of your own spirit. The mud of misfortune does not stain you forever. It nourishes the roots of your growth. When you understand this, you stop cursing the mud. You bow to it. You see it as the necessary soil of your transformation. The conclusion then is simple but profound. When bad luck comes, do not collapse into despair. Do not curse life as if it has betrayed you. Instead, breathe. Reflect. Ask, what is this moment teaching me? What strength, what wisdom, what compassion is being born through this pain? In that question, you transform misfortune from an enemy into a guide. Your freedom does not depend on luck. It does not depend on whether life is easy or hard, whether fortune smiles or frowns. Your freedom depends on your mind, on the way you see, on the way you respond, on the way you walk through storms. When you cultivate awareness, patience, compassion, detachment, gratitude, and acceptance, no misfortune can defeat you. Life may shake you, but it cannot shatter you. And so, carry this truth in your heart. Bad luck will come, as it comes to everyone. But if you meet it with wisdom, it will not destroy you. It will awaken you. It will polish you like the stone rubbed into a mirror. It will grow your roots deep like the tree in the wind. It will bloom your heart like the lotus in the mud. In the end, what matters is not the fortune you are given, but the wisdom you make of it. May every misfortune become your teacher. May every storm deepen your calm. May every ending open into freedom. And may you walk the path of awakening with courage, patience, and compassion, unshaken by luck, guided always by wisdom.